This week's episode of the Inside Running podcast is proudly sponsored by On. On Track Night Series takes over the Zatopek 10 this December in Melbourne. On Track Night celebrates the running community. The shared passion, the competition and the camaraderie, it's all there. High energy affairs with loud crowds pushing athletes to greater heights. Join us as Lakeside Stadium comes to life on December 2nd. Visit ontracknights.com for more information.
That your skin can bring you so much pain. Now I hear you say you got the best of both ways. Won't you come and take a walk in my shoes and tell me if you take my place?
Welcome to episode number 309 of the Inside Running podcast. Thank you for joining us for another week. Coming out a day later this week, which we'll explain in a second why that is. Not much going on this episode. Not much happened in the running world. A bit of a World Road Running Championships to talk about, and we've got an interview with Zach Facioni, which I conducted last week at the very end of the episode. So a bit going on, but yeah, not a lot of running news is happening at the moment. Welcome to my co-host. He's not in Canberra. He's in Melbourne at the moment. Welcome to you, Bradley Croker.
Thanks, Brady. Yep, just got out of hospital 2 hours ago, actually, and I'm back there tomorrow.
2 hours ago. People would have noticed on your Strava yesterday that you were doing laps around, is it the Victoria Gardens there? Is that what it's called? Near the museum?
Yeah, I get
Carlton
Carlton
Gardens.
Near go past the museum.
Yeah. Cutting laps around there. We'll ask you all about what's happening in a second after I introduced our other co-host, Julian Spence, the 214 man and World Championship representative. How are you this week, Moose?
I'm getting back, coming back from a sickness, and it, just unblocked you actually from all social media after the weekend.
Unblocked me. I didn't put much up about Collingwood, to be honest, but thanks for reminding me.
Well, it was just a precautionary block.
What a weekend of sport, hey? What a game that AFL footy game was. This isn't an AFL podcast, but that was... Did you watch the whole thing at home?
Yeah, I watched it. I found it, I didn't really like the game much at all. I felt like the last quarter was totally dead. Everyone just ran out of legs. It was pretty boring stuff.
The second quarter was amazing with all those goals.
Second quarter was good. Second quarter was good.
Yeah, some of the Brizzy goals in the first quarter were really good as well.
Oh, yeah. The first one from Bailey, geez. Yeah. That was a hard goal to kick.
Yeah, just high skill level. Yeah.
But, even at the very end, Collingwood were just... It was almost like they just were saving their last kick. And in a race, I'm thinking at like a 5K. They're coming down the home straight. Brisbane come up to their shoulder and they're just like, yeah, I've got plenty left. They basically did the barest they needed to win, but they could have smashed them, I reckon.
But they've been doing that to us for the last 2 years. Just winning by the smallest of margins.
Yeah, well,
it's not hard. It's not easy.
If they're winning, it doesn't matter.
It's not easy. Not easy to watch, Moose. Get very much nervous, but I'll talk about that later on when I'm recapping my week. Croaks, tell us what you're doing in Melbourne.
So last Tuesday, I think it was, I got a phone call from the hospital down here saying that Andre wants you to get in as soon as possible, and the earliest we can get you in is like the following Tuesday. So Viv was home at the time, and so I sort of sign languaging to her like we're driving to Melbourne, because they said that, because initially for the procedure I thought I was going to go and do a VO2 max test in the morning, then go and have this inserted in the afternoon, or the loop recorder inserted in the afternoon, and then basically go home. But then the hospital said that you need to have somebody to come and collect you after the procedure. So I'm like, all right, well, Viv's got to come now. So anyway, we drove down on Monday, and then, stayed here last night. Had to be at the hospital at, I think, like 11:15, and had to basically fast, had to have at least 6 hours. So they called me yesterday and said, you can't eat anything after 6:30 this morning. So I got up early just to have something to eat. Got there, a lot of it was just sitting around. Like, it was pretty much 3 hours. I was on a bed for basically 3 hours, doing absolutely nothing. They injected some antibiotics before the procedure. And then, the procedure was like literally 10 minutes. Just they wheel you into the theatre, put in some local anaesthetic around your chest. And then, you feel a bit of sort of pressure, bit of pushing and shoving. And they put this they put a thing over your face, so you can't even see what's going on. So 10 minutes, and then I had to just stay in observation for 2 hours afterwards. So you got out at just before 5 o'clock. A little bit tender now, like just where the drugs are starting to wear off. So if I do anything with my left arm, so we went and grabbed some dinner, and carrying dinner home in my left hand, I had to change it because it was, when you're sort of using your pec muscle, it sort of becomes a bit sore. And then back tomorrow for a stress test. So that's tomorrow afternoon. I think I jump back on the bike and they hook me up to all the leads, and that'll be the first time that, I guess I'll have some data. I'll have some data on how my heart's going under stress. That'll be the first time, since the surgery.
So when you say under stress, do you have to go and do workouts and stuff now?
So tomorrow is basically a VO2 max test on a bike.
But on the bike,
yeah. So I'll be hooked up to all the monitors, and then so last time when I came down and did the exact same thing, that's when I had 3 or 4 episodes of VT. So I'm hoping that everything looks pretty normal, and Andre gives me sort of the okay to do a little bit more than what I'm doing. I spoke to him a couple of times today. He popped in, and I said to him, so if everything looks pretty good tomorrow, then what do you reckon? A bit more? And he's like, we'll see. I'm probably a little bit more on the conservative side because I've been stung before, or I've stung others by being a little bit too liberal. So anyway, we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Can you imagine this bloke as a patient, Moose?
Oh, hitting him up, hitting the fucking surgeon up.
I'm more than just pushing the envelope. That's what I mean.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Hitting him up as he's coming out of anaesthetic.
So we'll see. So then this loop recorder, I got a bit of a crash course in how to use it. While I was in the 2 minutes before I was having the procedure done, while I was on the bed. But I've got some booklets and stuff to read about how to use it, and there's a thing that you can carry with you. So if I was out for a run, if I just sort of carry it with me, it's not I don't know, it's maybe 10 centimeters long, so it'd be pretty easy to hold in your hand. And if you feel something, you can actually press it, and it will, I think, record it from the previous 7 minutes, and and in the future for a couple of minutes. So anyway, that's in there now for I don't know how long.
Okay.
So how big is it? Like a matchbox or something?
It's probably 5. I don't know, between 5 and 10 centimeters long, and maybe 1 centimeter wide. Yeah, so it's sort of long and thin.
It's dead flat.
Yeah, it's pretty flat. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you go off at the airport?
I don't think so. Yeah, and I don't think it's even an issue for MRIs. It's not as bad as if you've got a defib in there or a pacemaker. So, Andre was saying that because I asked him about potentially getting more MRIs down the track to see whether the scarring's changed, and he said, that's a good idea, probably in about a year. Having this in there is not really a major factor for the MRI.
Tomorrow will give them the most data, won't it? The VO2. About what your running looks like from here on in.
Yeah. In terms of how my heart looks while I'm running, in terms of the rhythm and everything like that. Because, last time I was down here and I did it, I had 3 or 4 episodes in that sort of 10-minute VO2 max test, and I only felt one of them, whereas I'm hoping that a combination of, not running a lot since July and the surgery means that, the heart rate, the ECG looks pretty normal. And if it looks normal, then it's okay to probably do a little bit more than what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Whereas if I do the VO2 max tomorrow and it does look like I'm still going into VT, then obviously they're not going to say, hey, go and run more.
Yeah. Tell us about your running week, though. I see you did some pacing.
Yeah, so pretty similar to the week before. Ran 6 times, all between like 5K and 10K in length. Monday was just 40 minutes, 9K. Then, Tuesday, the group did a session, and then one of the guys I coached, Tim, he was coming out for a 5K time trial after that. So I offered to pace him, and 1 or 2 guys sort of jumped in and out. His goal was to pretty much, run around sort of 19:10. His PB was like 19:40 or something. So I put on the next percent twos for these, just because I wanted it to feel as easy as possible. And it was fine. Like averaged like 158 heart rate. He ran like 19:17. I wouldn't say it felt difficult, but when you think about, sometimes when I'm fit, the back end of long runs, I'm doing this for 5K, and here I am as a 5K effort. It was, in that comfortably hard zone. So that was 5K on the Tuesday. I did 45 minutes on the Wednesday, 4:25s. Thursday, another 9.5K at 4:30s. I took Friday off, and then Saturday, Friday I went out and met my group and just rode the bike with them, and then it ended up being pretty warm. Friday, actually all weekend was pretty hot, and so because I didn't run Friday morning, I'm like, I'm not going to go out when it's super hot. So then took that day off. Saturday ran for 45 minutes at 4:24s, and then Sunday met up with Rob from Road to Berlin and a few of the other guys that I coached for another 45 minutes around Mulligan's at 4:28s, followed by a bit of a smoothie down at the local cafe. So a week of 54K. So that's sort of two weeks in a row, about 50K. Don't feel like I'm getting that much fitter off that, but it's nice to be out running.
Bit of a debrief with Rob. Had you listened to Road to Berlin yet? Or hadn't?
No, I hadn't, because I wanted to save that for our trip down. So I listened to that yesterday in the car. Like a little bit of a debrief, but because there was like other people around, it wasn't like a one-on-one. But listening to it yesterday, like one thing I'm starting to realise about Berlin is like, yes, they have an amazing course, but like I don't reckon Rob drank enough during that whole event. Like he would have had a few hundred mils of water, and trying to drink out of those plastic cups, it's just crap. Like for a world class event, like you look at Gold Coast, you can grab a bottle of water, and you're guaranteed of pretty much getting that whole 250 mils. Whereas in Berlin, you'd literally have to stop at the drink stations to get a drink unless you had somebody on the side of the road. So I reckon it's pretty crap.
Thinking the same thing today, actually, because I think the gels and how you can carry them, and they seem to be like you can buy ones higher in carb like value these days as well. Like I think that issue can be sorted out, but hydration is very hard to sort out.
And you need to drink like over 200, especially if there's if it's 16 degrees. Yes, it's not hot, but you're going to sweat a fair bit, and you're going to lose a lot of fluid, which then means that your heart rate starts to creep up. I think about how much fluid I've drunk in the last few marathons, and admittedly I've been able to put bottles out. But if I couldn't put bottles out, I'd be stuffed. And that was a good thing about Gold Coast is because you could grab a bottle of water and be guaranteed to pretty much get most of it in your mouth with a sort of screw top.
From a bothly from a environmental as well as like a financial cost, whether like the big races look at those things with the cups versus bottles.
40,000 people, don't they?
Yeah, I don't think financially they'd be too stressed about it. But I mean, think about that for bottles. So they got 40,000 people.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah. You put a bottle out every 5K, so that's 8 stations. So you're looking at 300,000 plus bottles.
It's a lot.
Surely that doesn't go well with the whoever oversees the environmental stuff for the race. But I mean, cups don't seem much better unless they're compostable or something.
Well, that's it. I would have thought the types of cups they're using sound like they're useless for runners. Like, why not try and find some cups that you can at least maybe crease and create a bit of a funnel to get the fluid in.
Is Gold Coast a bit of an outlier? Sorry, Moose. Like, do many marathons have bottles?
Don't know.
Sydney didn't, Moose. That had cups.
Sydney was cups for sure.
Were they plastic as well?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They were.
Were they? Yeah. Oh, yeah, they definitely were, because I remember getting a cup of ice at one stage, and that was in plastic.
Yeah.
Melbourne?
Bottles. Yeah, Melbourne's not bottles.
What's a sarcasm?
Do you agree, though, a lot of the people, like, if you don't have people on the sidelines or, elite or sub-elite where you can put your bottles out, I reckon over 90% of the people that are doing the race are probably not getting enough, liquid.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
Same.
Yeah, that was my sort of takeaway when I was listening to how much like Rob was taking on board. It's like, okay, got all of his gels on, but I don't reckon he drank enough in terms of like just fluid throughout the race.
It's impossible, the splashing. And if you're going to get, like, say you get two, one goes over the head, and then by the time you've sort of got the actual water into your mouth, a cup might be 100 mil or so. You're probably only getting 50 mil in.
Yeah, if that. I reckon I was doing half a mouthful at Sydney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're trying, though, because you're going past it like 18k an hour, and you're trying to grab it from someone who's there as a volunteer. They're not like professionals at handing water out, and so they hold on a bit long, or it's only a half full to start with. And so there's a bit of crash, and it's lost when you first grab it. The tactic, you grab some at the start of the station, I reckon, smash it down as quick as you can, grab another one, smash it down, and then the third one you carry with you as a bit. Like they're pretty long in those majors. Like they're massive aid stations, so you get a chance to do that.
And I just on road to Berlin, like, hats off to the boys. Like, they did such a great job over that series. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed every single episode, and even Paddy to get on after his ordinary run, and just give an honest reflection. And I thought it was a great episode, great series. But I really enjoyed that last episode as well.
Yeah, I'm going to get him back for a monthly episode, I reckon.
Yeah.
Start rotating a few different people through the monthly. Maybe do 3 monthlies a month. Stuff like that. Got some long lost guests that I want to catch up with that we've had on over the years. Anyway, that's a good week, Croaks. What have you been doing, Moose? So you're like recapping the week, 7 days post marathon to 14 days post?
Yeah, that's it. 7 days. So the week started on the 25th. I went out for 10.5k. Felt pretty good, actually. The body seems to have pulled up pretty well. I thought I wrote a bit of a program, which I stuck to fairly well this week until the end when I got sick. So, I just started Monday, 10.5k, felt good. And then Tuesday, again, same 10k. Ran down to the beach with the dog. It was a nice morning, so couldn't help myself. I decided to get up a bit earlier this week, so before daylight savings kicks in, and make use of the early light. It's nice, not as many people out either. I feel like you start the day pretty well. You get home, you don't have to rush to get ready for work. I ran in the New Balance 1080 V13 that day, which has just landed in store in preparation for I can't remember exactly when the launch is, but they've arrived. Great update. I've worn the 1080 for a long time, and I used to adore it, and I fell out of love with it, and now I've fallen back in love with this one. I did have a pair of samples from about 6 months ago, kind of not wear testing because I didn't ask for any feedback, but I just got an early pair, and they played a big part in my running rotation. They're a lot more flexible through the forefoot than other shoes that I have at the moment, and I think that's a really helpful thing for me to not always be in stiff, oversized cushion shoes. And I'm going to start implementing more of that in my rotation.
I heard you talking about that on Shoe Geeks. Is it like thinking to make your foot do more work?
Yeah, pretty much. Basically, like not always change it, not always trying to give the foot a chop out. Like sometimes let the foot be a foot without going down the full holistic barefoot path. Like I think it is, like I look at my shoe rotation and everything I've got either has a carbon plate in it, has a massive stack of cushion, or is super stiff and wide and stable. I've got nothing that allows a natural type of movement pattern at the foot and ankle, and that's what I want to get back to.
I agree with that, Moose. So coming back, I've been like alternating between, say, the Super Blast and the Infinity React. And when I go out in the Super Blast, like I feel like I'm not using as many muscles as I am when I use the Infinity React. So everything is significantly harder in the Infinity React compared to the Super Blast. And I think there's a time and a place to actually wear a shoe where you are having to work a little bit harder.
Yeah, that's not really the point. The point for me is more injury related. I don't want to keep loading up the chain every time I go for a run. Like, and that's the purpose of some of these shoes. Not so much the Super Blast, but like, say, Brady, I know you run a lot in the Asics Glide Ride. You still running that shoe?
Probably 2 runs a week.
Yeah, okay.
But before the Super Blast, I was probably doing 5 runs a week in it.
Yeah, and like, and I just like that can certainly change the loading patterns on the body, and I'm just seeing a lot more upper limb stuff, like fucking sacrums, femurs, proximal hamstring tendinopathies, glute tendon stuff, and it might be a coincidence, it might not, but I want to get back to seeing more Achilles tendon stuff. I want to start fucking my feet up a bit more. But it's all a bit of a theory of mine at the moment. The next day I ran in a shoe that I really didn't like much, the Hoka Mac X. So this was 12K, did a bigger loop of Anglesey. This was one of the runs where I was regretting my shoe choice, and it actually made the run unenjoyable. It's Hoka's kind of comparison to the Super Blast, I guess, but it does have a plate in there. It's a plastic plate. It's got 2 foams. Felt quite dead underfoot to me. Felt a bit narrow. Got a numb foot after a while. And yeah, that one's found its way into a mate's cupboard. 8K the next day, just a bit easier. I was going to have a down day. And then this is where the plans changed a little. Matt Gunther, he's coming back from a bit of a hip injury himself. He came down to Anglesey to do a workout, so I thought, oh yeah, I can jump in with him for my first threshold back. And he was doing 5 by 6 minutes. I thought I'd jump in for 3 or 4, depending on how I was feeling. I wore the new Zebra 2s from Mizuno. So I got those early, but I hadn't had a chance to actually wear them yet. So I decided to chuck those on and have a crack. The workout felt fairly fine aerobically. I started to feel like I was getting quite a sore chest during the run. I'm not sure what it was. I thought I might have been hitting the gym a bit hard. I pulled out after 3. My Achilles got a little sore too. I'm not sure I get on well with those shoes. I think they're a little bit too aggressive in their geometry for me. I don't hit the right spot in this one. I think I prefer version 1 in terms of its suitability to my foot strike. Version 2 is just, I felt like the sweet spot was even smaller. I did hit it a couple of times and thought, oh, wow, that was nice. But then the rest of the time was searching for that nice area. Otherwise, it did felt a little harsh. And the energy kind of kicked back at me a little bit.
I agree. I've only done a threshold in it, and I want to put it through like a change pace kind of fartlek, like something you cut down in, and just see where, I think you got to hit the right spot in it.
Yeah.
I think that spot's smaller in the 2s than it was the 1s. I was a big fan of the 1s. People know I'm a big fan of the 1s.
Yeah.
But I felt like I could put that on for any workout, and I'd hit the spot. Whereas this one, I'm like, I didn't feel it that much in the threshold, but I've still got to test it more before I make up my mind.
The shoe now is made. It was a niche shoe, and it's got even nicher now, and in terms of who can wear that shoe, and I'm just not sure like it's going to be that practical for that many people. And I think when you make something so different to how I feel a natural like foot strike works. Like it is so artificial for me how it felt running in it. I'm like, oh, this doesn't feel right, and I'm not sure that I trust this under my foot. I think you'd need to spend a decent amount of time to get to a point where you'd trust it for a longer distance race. Yeah.
When you had the guy on Shoe Geeks, he didn't really say that though, did he? He didn't really talk about it at all. But he was kind of saying how it's like the next level up.
Well, they think they can run faster in this shoe. That's the idea. It's more aggressively angled, and the height through the middle is thicker. And the idea was that the first version wasn't suitable for faster paces, whereas this one will be more suitable for the higher end marathoners.
Oh, okay. But if your marathon pace is slower...
Yeah, it won't work.
Okay.
But I don't agree so much with that. I think everyone's foot strike's so different. You can't lump someone with a certain foot strike... Like, if someone who runs... Two people with the same pace might have totally different gaits, and you might see, like... And totally different preferences as well. So I don't really buy into that too much. But anyway, the reps were pace-wise 3:21, 3:17, 3:18. Aerobically felt okay. I lost my heart rate monitor, so I don't know for sure. But it was nice to get back into something. And then that Arvo, I got sick. So that was Friday. By the time I got to work that day, that morning, I was like starting to get some shivers through the body, and I was really weak. Couldn't sort of clench a fist. So I by the time I got home that night, I was in bed at 6 o'clock, I think. Got like 12 hours. Not very good sleep at all, feverish. Woke up pretty average. I'm not throwing up or anything, just fever, real bad headaches. Sort of came good for some patches, and then watched the grand final, then got real tired and sore again. My bones were sore, my bloody joints were sore, everything was sore. Got out and had a jog on Sunday with Bree, because I thought the worst of it had passed. So I jogged with Bree, that was nice, around Anglesey for an hour. But then got sort of fell in a hole that Arvo. And then had a good night's sleep, woke up Monday, ran Monday, fell in another hole. So decided, don't go to work and don't run on Tuesday. So that's where I'm at now.
Don't podcast on Monday. One of the reasons why we're a day late.
Yeah, pretty much. I was in a deep hole last night.
You still would have been right. You would have been fine to get through.
Well, not when I carry you boys like I do.
Yeah, it was a good move, pushing it back. That's a good week.
Not really.
Well, I more meant that you're doing a workout like 10 days after a marathon.
Well, it wasn't much.
Did you say it was meant to be 5?
I think Brady's used to just saying good week.
Yeah, done it 3 hours.
I was waiting for it. Find me the good bit about it. Just one good bit about it.
No, I think people sometimes rush back, and I think that's fine. If you did that week without the workout in there and just did some strides, I'd say that's a good week for where you're at.
All right,
relatively speaking. You know what I mean?
You got to remember, Moose, this is the bloke that calls an Aussie record every week.
Oh, I've got a new segment actually this week. Rumours across Brady's desk, and I want to talk about a potential Australian record going down.
Rumours across... Yeah, I don't mind this.
This is
a good way to get some stuff out, actually.
I've got 3 little dot points here, which I'm going to talk about at the end of the show in my new segment, Rumours across Brady's desk.
Yeah, good, but don't get us in too much trouble.
No, they're just rumours.
Yeah, they're just
rumours. Other people have sent them in to me. My DMs will be open. If you got any rumours, get them through to me for next week's show.
Brady's Whispers.
If we don't comment on it, then we won't get in too much strife. We can
Whispers of the week.
Yeah, good. I like it. I might make some stuff up right now.
Just send it into...
Tell us about your week.
My week, Monday, complete day off. We drove home from, where were we? Browley, New South Wales, South Coast, near Croker. Long drive. Olivia spewed just near the dog in the tucker box there, Croaks, which is about 5 hours from home. So that made the last 5 hours a bit smelly in the car, but we cleaned all that up and we made it home. Hudson's just figured out what the word boring now means. Long trip, didn't run, got home about 6 p.m. Tuesday. Do you guys have this thing when you've had I wasn't planning to have the day off, but I just couldn't run before we travelled and didn't want to run when we got home because it was late. But do you guys have this thing where you wouldn't jump straight into a workout if you've had a day off? Like you want to just go for a jog, like a jogging day? Is that a thing?
Not necessarily. Yeah. No, because I used to take, when I was doing 3 sessions a week, I used to have Friday as my rest.
Completely off. Yeah.
So
Moose?
Oh, I've never. Nah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I've actually considered that myself.
Yeah, so I was Tuesday, usually a workout day. I had done one Friday the week before, but I was like, no, I just want to jog, get a day of jogging under my belt before I jump into a workout. I guess because on school holidays as well, I'd kind of be a bit flexible. So I did 90 minutes in the morning at 4:27s, and then I did 30 minutes in the afternoon at 4:39s. Wednesday I did a workout, did 6 by a mile. Probably my favourite workout, mile reps at threshold pace. Hit 3:13 average off 90 seconds slow jog between. Then also got out for 30 minutes in the afternoon at 4:41s. Thursday did 70 minutes at 4:46 pace. And then...
Just wait, Brady, why aren't I seeing all this on Strava?
Have I opened it back up? Zaka wanted me to close some stuff off on Strava, so all the competition guests went to the 6 by mile post.
Yeah, okay. I haven't
hit refresh because I've been trying to open it up as Moose was recapping his week.
Okay.
I haven't hit them all yet though, but there's a few runs that weren't on Strava, and I'll get to my Strava activity, other people's activity on my Strava in a second. So yeah, I got out for 70 minutes Thursday, and then Friday morning I woke up to a message about a grand final ticket, which was a bit late. I was really hoping a listener might have helped me out before this stage, but a local hookup come through, so I found out that Friday morning. So I did a workout then Friday morning because I knew Saturday I wouldn't be able to do it. So I did 8 by 1k. This is real evidence that I need more than 2 days between workouts because I felt shocking early. My perceived effort was really high. I averaged 3:08 for the 1kers, and they felt like I would feel when I'd usually do 8 by 1k. I could do this session in, 2:58, 3 minutes. But I think because I was rolling off 48 hours recovery, they were just so much slower. And I didn't force it. I'm just like, this is where we're at here. 8 by 1k, 3:08 average off about 90 seconds, real slow shuffle jog between. Saw a massive brown snake dead on the road. That was that frightened me a bit, but no dogs. So I'm always happy when there's no dogs chasing me.
Dead though.
Hey?
Dead,
yeah, but when you see dead ones, you know that there's some around.
I even hate dead ones.
Yeah, same. I could see it as I was running up the road. I'm like, that's a dead snake up there, and I'm still going as wide as I possibly can around it on the road, knowing it was dead. It got the heart rate up a bit. Saturday before I went to Melbourne, did 50 minutes at 4:42 pace, which is good, and then went to the grand final, which I said before, just an amazing spectacle. 100,000 people in there. I thought the grandstand was going to come down when Degoe kicked that goal, Moose, in the last quarter. It was just, the place was absolutely rocking and shaking. My heart rate, I don't know, my heart, when they won the game, it was just I should have had my heart rate monitor on. I don't know what was happening with my heart, but it was just
Where were you sitting?
I was sitting 3 seats from the back, at the very top from the back row. I was in double B or whatever it was called, but I was kind of on the wing, 50 metres, in between the 50 metre mark and the wing of the AFL members stand. I don't know where that is, Shane Warne's stand side. So that was cool. A lot of neutral supporters in there too, so wasn't amongst my Collingwood Army brothers and sisters, but it was still a pretty good atmosphere there.
How pissed did you get?
Wow,
because you're knocking back beers at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, when people hook you up with some tickets, and then they're because they picked me up. They go, I'll pick you up from your house at 6:50 a.m. And I've travelled to Melbourne all the time. It's only a 3-hour drive. And I'm like, why are we getting to Melbourne at 9:50 a.m, 10 a.m? And then they had a bit of a pub circuit. These guys go to the grand final every year. One of them has been going the last 24 years or something like that. So we went to a few pubs, and then we went and watched the longest kick. And then I didn't have a beer once I actually got to the footy, but a few beers were consumed beforehand, Croaks. But it was lucky I could kind of sober up throughout the game and actually enjoy it.
You didn't have a beer at the footy?
Nah, the lines were massive. I just wanted to enjoy it. Moose had a bottle of water. wasn't bad actually. I had a pie, had some hot chips too. I thought like even like $5, pretty affordable in there too. I thought
you're a weird man.
You should have seen the line. You would have missed half the quarter.
Really?
Yeah. I went to get one at 3/4 time, and then went down there, and it was just you would have missed at least 10 minutes of the last quarter if you were waiting for a beer.
So were you sitting with your friends, or were you by yourself?
Nah, so I was sitting with one of their friends who we met in Melbourne. So I didn't know him, but he was he was a good bloke. He was a neutral supporter. So and like, you know, when you like going to the footy, like I was sitting near this guy who was like calling all the players like their nicknames, and you're just like, mate, we're 3 seats back from the roof here. They can't hear you. B, you don't have a clue. They don't know who you are. So like, you know, like Darcy Moore would stuff up a kick and he'd be like, oh, Darcy, you've got to be better than that. And then like, you know, Dacos would do something. It's like, Dakes, you know, you can't go kicking those ones, Dakes. And you're just like, mate, shut up. Like, just enjoy the game. So, yeah, it was pretty good in there. Pretty good atmosphere. I'd say I was at the MCG when Craig Mottram did that 5K. And I'd say this was just as loud, but probably a bit more like tense. Like it was a pretty cool experience to see. Anyway, so we got back on Saturday night pretty late, and then Sunday got out for 2 hours, listened to Shoe Geeks for the first hour, then a bit of music for the second hour. Hot and windy, I reckon it was like 22 degrees by the time I started. So 28Ks at 4:18s, week of 125K, which was good. Need a few more weeks like that. That's probably like a 140K week if I didn't have Monday off. So I feel like I just need a month or 3 weeks of like B kind of workouts and just string a bit of consistency together. Then I might pick out something to do in November. Osaka, yeah. Yeah. Did they? Yeah, I'm looking at that. I'm really liking that idea. Really liking that idea. Got to get my name in the ballot to get a spot.
Tell you what I like the idea of. You can bring Carly and the fam down for a Surf Coast January. Come down the beach for the summer. What about that? Come on a training camp in the home of running. I was thinking that. Otherwise, doubles are going to be out of the question, and I think I'm just going to load the singles because you just can't train here and there. And just be content with, like, you know, 140K in singles. Just, yeah. Get a treadmill, get some aircon. Yeah, that's another possibility. Or just get away for a couple of weeks. Yeah, the end of Feb date's really good. Like, I think you picked it out last year. I reckon it is really good. I just like you can start marathon training basically just before Christmas. Yeah, well, it's good for my work too. Like I'll get 6 weeks of no interruptions. Yeah, that's why late BWA was always good because it was first weekend in March. Yeah, similar time. Yeah. So yeah, that's good. Do they have bottled water there, Moose, or you got cups? What do they got? Mate, it was below fucking zero when I was running. I don't think I even went for water. Yeah, okay. Moose didn't run long enough to need a drink. Yeah. You got some good ones. Got some good gags. You got them written down, I reckon, Moose. I lay him up for it. You did. Anytime Moose talks about Osaka, it's a layup. Thanks to all the people as well who commented on my Strava throughout the week. There's a bit of confusion, I think, Moose, in your competition because early days I had plenty of people commenting what their favourite shoes were, and then I had plenty of people commenting on how good the Brisbane Lions were going to go against Collingwood, which I don't mind. But if you're going to throw out that kind of lip, you got to back it up. They all just went missing when Collingwood won on Saturday, so that was a bit disappointing. But I think we got about 250 people commenting penguin gags or shoe stuff on my Strava, which was good fun. Going through it now, looking at some good fun ones. Yeah. I tried to reply to a few people. Then it was few pricks in there I saw as well. Well, that should have been the gag. I wish you kind of went with that one because the penguin is a fish thing that doesn't hit me at all. Whereas the run pre, that was the stuff I'm not proud of. It'd be stabbing you every time you hear that. No, because remember, we were talking about is a penguin a mammal, and I just Googled it. You were talking about it, and I just I'll Google it. And then I just looked up some website that said penguins used to be classified as fish or something. I just read out what I read on Google. Whereas the run pre and the run prick stuff, that's on me. That was a genuine stuff up, which I'm embarrassed about. But thank you to the people who commented on my Strava. Thanks to the new followers as well. It's been a fun week.
Let's thank some Patreon
Hey,
supporters.
can you just tell me
Yep.
Good. Ben Chandler, love it.
What do you say?
Good one. I'm sick of Moose always picking on teachers. Teachers
Oh,
work
yeah.
24/7, 24 hours a week, 7 months a year.
I think it's 10, Ben. I think it's 10 months of the year.
That is brilliant from him. I love that.
Going back to work tomorrow, actually. 12-week term. It's going to be a long one. Anyway, thanks some Patreon supporters. Croaks, who you got?
I got Oscar Vanderstaal from Norway. Now, Oscar only follows 4 people, and 2 of those are Aussies. And they're not Aussies that you would probably expect him to follow. One is Toby the Bad Boy Mende, and the other is Cam Myers. So none of us 3 or the King of Norway get to follow.
What?
Yeah,
How
not
the
even
fuck
Christian.
do you come up with those 2?
Not even Christian.
Toby hasn't even run for 6 weeks.
Do you reckon you ran with him in Rotterdam or something?
Don't know. I was quite amazed when I saw, sort of he follows 4. I'm like, all right, I'll click on this. And then it's, Toby and Cam Myers.
I reckon he set you up
Interesting
there.
interesting combo.
Christian?
No Christian.
Who are the other 2?
I don't know. Maybe some of his relatives. I'll find out while you're giving your shout-outs. But anyway, a bit of more info. According to Strava, his estimated best 10K is 47.57 and ran 1:43 at the recent Oslo half marathon. And according to LinkedIn, I reckon he was the director of operations for Food Folk, which is the licensee for McDonald's in Norway.
Oh.
And I believe he's on a career transition / career break at the moment. That's what he's actually got as his LinkedIn at the moment. Career transition / career break.
I don't mind that.
Thanks for your support, Oscar.
Thanks, Oscar. Who you got, Moose?
I've got Fredrik Hanserud from Norway as well. He is a best 10K, just slightly faster than Oscar or Joss.
Oscar.
Joss?
Yeah, so he's registered in Patreon as Yoss, but his name's Oscar.
Okay. He ran 47.07, and he also ran at Oslo's half last year, 1:55. Oh, so he's touched up Oscar over 10, but then Oscar's come back and got Fredrik at Oslo half last year, 1:55. He has a master's degree in construction engineering, specialisation in concrete technology, with a project and master's thesis on environmentally oriented design of bearing systems in concrete. Wow. Yeah.
Add that one to the list of good titles that people have from our Patreon supporters.
Who you got, Brady?
I've got Daniel Pollard, Croaks. These are the notes you got for Daniel Pollard. Don't have much info about Daniel, but after a bit of digging, I reckon he might be from Bendigo and is a technical manager at Moira Max Poultry and Fine Foods. If that's him, which I think it is, Croaks, because I'm going to tell you a story about Daniel in a second. He's a regular at the Bendigo Botanical Gardens Park Run with a best time of 19:44, and he also ran the Run Melbourne half marathon this year in 89 minutes. And boys, I actually went to primary school and secondary school with Daniel Pollard in Bendigo, and I went to a really small primary school, and this is the name of someone who I wouldn't have spoken to since year 12, back in like 2005, and he was not into running at all, and it gives me great joy knowing that Daniel Pollard, I wonder if he knows I'm the same guy from high school that's on this podcast, that is a Patreon supporter for ours, and also got involved in running. He was really good friends. Well, his younger brother Tom was really good friends with my cousin Geordie. So I knew Daniel quite well through that. And just a legend of a bloke. One of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. And super cool that he's into running. Must have got into it at a pretty late age, I reckon, the last couple of years. So massive thanks, Daniel Pollard, for your support of the Inside Running podcast. And I hope you're going well down there in Bendigo. Patreon content, boys. Been a bit happening. Talked about Road to Berlin season finale happened last week, which was a good, honest recap for those fellas. Shoe Geeks went out early. That's going to be going out later in the week to the punches. That was a good episode, Moose. I enjoyed the chat about Tams and Manu. Yeah, I got through the first hour of it.
Oh, yeah, he was ready to go.
He was quoting articles and stuff, wasn't he? He was great on there. And I think
he was in Tamsin's DMs immediately after.
Was he?
She got on and started talking shit on Instagram, and so he was like firing back.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I did love his delivery. Like, I think you called him out on it at the time. Like, he asked for some of your opinions and then just, like, went hard after that.
He did not care about our
That was
opinion.
good. Did you listen to that on your drive, Croaks, down from Canberra?
No, I haven't. We should give the listeners a bit of context. So, and I actually want a bit more context as well, Moose. I was forwarded an article where there was talk about shoe technology and how it's, impacting the world of track and field, and there were people like Tamsin who were against the technology, and then I saw that you got interviewed as well. How did that all come about?
Oh, I just got a phone call from a journalist who called the store. I think he listened to the podcast, so he knows our stance, or well, my stance, I guess, on super shoes, and probably a different perspective as someone in the running shoe industry.
They pay for that? Cash for comment?
No, are you kidding?
Huh.
I love that he also got Dixon. He got some big hitters.
He got Rod
me and
Dixon
again. Back together again, the dream
the
team.
boys. Yeah, Pat Carroll. Who else was in there, Crooks? It was pretty big. There were about 10 different people quoted.
Kate Smythe.
Yeah, Kate Smythe.
Ralph DeBell.
Yeah.
Ralph DeBell.
Yeah, Ralph
World
DeBell.
record holder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit of a
Is he
dream
world
team.
record holder, actually?
He was the Aussie record holder.
Yeah, maybe not world record, or maybe got
For
a
a
bit
long
carried away
time.
there.
The monthly also is on there as well with Christian and the bad boy Toby Mende. We recorded that the other day. You listen to that one, Crooks, driving down?
That'll be on the way home.
Oh, some good stuff in there. The boys got going again, which was good. And a new series starting super soon. Moose, do you want to tell us about this?
Yeah, well, I don't know about this. 'Cause I don't know whether this is happening or not, because I'm not sure about it.
I think it's happening. Well, if we've hit some roadworks with our Road to Valencia series, and then there might be a slight tweak where Moose is going to coach a person running Valencia Marathon for them to have hopefully a breakthrough performance. And they're not going to talk. Sure. They're not going to talk throughout the week, and they're going to both take notes of their training week. And then on Sunday or Monday, whenever, they're going to catch up and go through the training and how the goals are looking for Valencia. If you've read the book Making a Marathoner, the NAZ Elite one, it's going to be in similar format to that. I haven't read the book, but the people coming up with these ideas think it's going to be like a podcast version of that book. So it's really good. And a very,
what would be
very,
better?
very big name.
You know what would be better?
20 weeks.
20 weeks, and we both actually invest in this, because I'm going to be. It's going to be content driven rather than actually performance driven, isn't it?
No, I think he's coming from a good base.
Well, or maybe you can pull him out of the hole, Moose, and maybe you can see some improvement, and then you can commit to 20 weeks next year.
Oh.
I feel like you and this person you need to mend the relationship as athlete and coach as well, and this could be a good opportunity for that.
Yeah, well, if it's business, it sounds like it might be part of a business plan. Christian, oh wait, I said his name.
Christian Orickson.
You want to get rid of that, you can.
Don't have to get rid of it. It's not fully locked in yet, but we're hoping it's locked in by this time next week, so keep an eye on your Patreon feeds.
He's the king of cooking marathons, isn't he?
He probably just needs to get one on the board. That's all you'll see.
Again.
Yeah,
You've got to get one on the board.
But you don't have to be going into this going, I've got to make this guy into a 2:19 guy.
No.
He ain't breaking 2:20.
I'm going to stick up for you here, Moose, because you sort of will be thrown or have been thrown under the bus a little bit, because 9 weeks is not really enough. Like, yes, it's enough to give somebody a marathon block, but I feel like for somebody to get benefit, it's like 20 weeks out. So you have that 10 weeks to prepare to get your body ready for the marathon block, then do the marathon block. So I even see it with athletes that I coach. They come in, there's a marathon in 10 weeks' time, and they want you to write them a program. It's like, well, you should have been with me like 2 months ago, and then we could have mapped out a bit longer of a plan. So
He hasn't been sitting on the couch for the last 10 weeks, though, fellas.
No, he hasn't, but this is not Moose's style of coaching. Just 9 weeks here, do this, and you're going to run a massive PB. But I do like the idea, Moose, of going, hey, let's give a Norwegian the traditional Australian marathoning program from 20, 30 years ago, and see how he actually adapts to it. I like that idea as a little experiment.
8 of his last 10 weeks have been 100 miles.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's not ready for it. He's just done it very differently to how I would have liked to do the last 10 weeks. That's
the 10 weeks leading into the 10 weeks.
Yeah, it's not just running. He's been doing a lot of different stuff than I would have had him doing. And I like I like that Australian style too.
With a bit of Moose spin on it. You're not just going to give him Deeks quarters and Monofart like every Tuesday, Thursday to tempo.
Why? Work for Deek and Mona.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, actually, this is a good conversation about taking a philosophy and tweaking it. Mm. So we were talking about last night in a message group about the Norwegian style, the double threshold system. And someone said, oh, yeah, we should do that, but we make Sunday a long run because we need long run. And because that Marius Barkin.
Yep.
He only ran an hour on Sunday by the look of it. Didn't do a long run. And I'm like, well, yeah, we need a long run, but you can't just change someone's full program just to suit what you need, because it affects the rest of the program. And the whole theory was that you don't do anything stressful like that inhibits your mileage, and you take low risk options, and the long run was considered a higher risk, so he doesn't run longer than 60 minutes at any given time by the sounds of it, including warm-up cool-down session.
And the risk of taking bits and pieces from every different training philosophy is you put them all together and it ends up being like an all-you-can-eat buffet, and you overdo it.
Exactly. And you don't look at a successful program like this and take out the one thing that you think works and go, oh, it must be all around doing 2 workouts in a day, and go, that's the secret. I'm just going to put 2 workouts in a day and then do my long run as well. And I can't forget long tempos. Like, I've got to do a long tempo every now and then.
And what about those quarters? It's really, really important to do some fast stuff and, get that lactate up, and we'll have the quarters in as well.
And so it's disrespectful to butcher someone's program like that. I think if you're going to, if you've got to respect the program in its whole as to why it worked, and that's like with that Australian program or the, it was Wardlaw, but Chloe Hesse, right?
The system. Was it called the system?
Yeah, there's a PDF about it if you Google it.
Yeah, so it was Pat Chloe Hesse first, wasn't it? And then Wardlaw was doing a lot of it with Mona. It was like quarters Tuesday, Mona fartlek or a fartlek on a Thursday, and hill repeats or a hilly tempo on a Saturday with a long run on Sunday and a lot of volume in between.
Long on Wednesday too, I reckon.
Oh, yeah, the mid-long too. Yeah. So a lot of what they would consider high-stress days, but the workouts were quite low volume.
Yeah.
And it just didn't change much throughout the year. It's just based on consistency like that, and years of it rather than periodization and all that sort of stuff. So 9 weeks of it's not really giving it a chance, is it? It would just be fun to follow Christian doing it, I reckon.
Yeah, could be some value in that, especially just trying to get those workouts right. Like, how many times do people cook Mona fartlek and Deeks quarters when they do it the first time? It will take them 5 weeks to get it right. But they're the conversations you're going to have.
You DNF a few deep quarters before you get to the one.
Pull out at 6 reps.
Yeah.
Or you're 10 seconds slower a rep for the last 2.
Yeah, or a 6K hilly tempo. Like I DNF'd a couple of them in Ballarat.
Yeah. So keep training. I'm sure you and Christian will have some good conversations.
Yeah,
we've got to reopen related. Yeah.
He wants a phone call.
A recorded phone call?
No, he wants
You record it. That's the whole point of it.
Is that what he wants?
Mend the relationship. I don't know.
I'll find out.
This is your little baby. You can sort it out.
This week's episode of the Inside Running Podcast is proudly sponsored by On. On Track Night Series takes over the Zatopek 10 this December in Melbourne. On believes running is a community sport and that together we can achieve more. Just look at OAC. They race alone, but they run for each other. Individually they're strong, but as a team they're taking the world by storm. They're proving that community is key to performance. On Track Night celebrates the running community. On has handpicked events around the world that embody this ethos. The shared passion, the competition, and the camaraderie, it's all there. These aren't your standard races. They're high-energy affairs with loud crowds pushing athletes to greater heights. They're rooted in their local community and always bringing something new to the table. They have their own unique local flavour, but they all champion their community. So join us as Lakeside Stadium comes to life on December 2nd. Visit ontracknights.com for more information.
Let's go to some running news. World Road Racing Champs. Moose, I think you were all over this one. Big money.
Watched it,
you watched it all, yeah. Did you have to sign in for... I just saw the highlights on YouTube because I was doing something when it was on. Oh, my kids wouldn't go to sleep because it was daylight savings. But, yeah, did you have to make an account and then you could watch it?
Well, you just created an email and, it's just a pretty basic account for the mile and 5K.
Yeah.
And then you actually needed a VPN for the half because that wasn't being shown in Australia. I'm not sure why they did that. There must have been a local carrier who picked that up, that they'd blocked the free feed. That's pretty annoying, really. Yeah. So, that VPN ran out for me after half an hour, so I didn't get to watch anything, really. Oh, I did watch the British ladies. So, in the women's half, we might as well start there just because that's on the top of my head. The two British ladies, Susie Harrison, is that...
Yep.
Sound right? And Callie Thackeray, who has been on our show after the Great Ocean Road, maybe. They were in the lead group, pressing the pace. They were running really well. Did we get a finish time on them? Can someone look that up for me?
Yeah, 68, I reckon, for Callie.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
68 something.
And it just they were in a group with the Ethiopians and the Kenyans, basically. And they're just very, these girls, real dolled up, and very white with blonde hair. And so it was just super polarizing seeing them in the group. And it's pretty cool because they were aggressive at the front.
Samantha Harrison, just to correct you there.
Samantha, yeah, yep. My bad. I really enjoyed them getting to the front and pushing. And then they got dropped a couple of times and they got back on. They were tough. What did they run? She
comes 7th, Callie Thackeray did, and she's saying here she broke 69 minutes, 68:56.
Yeah, okay, so that's
30 years
pretty
after
good, really.
Her dad won bronze.
Yeah, oh yeah, cool.
Samantha Harrison was 9th in 69:26.
Yeah, solid from those girls.
She's come a long way since she left Australia.
She has. I think she broke 15 minutes. Yep. And then, so the winner of that was the Olympic champ in the marathon, Paris Jepchirchir, 67:25. She beat Margaret Kipyegon, 67:26. Oh, so that's pretty close at the end. Very close. And Catherine Mangan-Ola, 67:34. I didn't see the finish here because I didn't have the VPN. Do you guys seen the finish to this race?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I have. Pretty close.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It was, Jepchirchir was just grinding, though. They were saying that Kipyegon has the track speed, but she just had the strength, and it didn't look pretty, the way she was kind of kicking away, but it was efficient, and she got away from her. That second looks closer than it was.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean when I say that?
Yeah.
She was pretty dominant. And she's a very good runner, Jepchirchir.
Yeah, well, she wins a lot.
Well, she won London last year, off the top of my head. I got in trouble for saying people won different races last week.
You shouldn't have said...
Paula Radcliffe did not win Berlin Marathon. My apologies to the people out there who heard that last week.
That was a bad call from you. In the Australian kit, we had Izzy Batt-Doyle. She was 14th in 70:08. Pretty good run, I reckon, from Izzy. 70. I don't think these courses were that fast, just based off the times of some of the winners. That were probably a minute or so off their PBs. Sinead Noonan was, the position, I'm going to say she was 46th, maybe, 75.29, and Tara Palm perhaps 48th in 76.18. That's just going off top of my head.
46 and 48, you're correct.
Yep. Pretty good result for Izzy. I'm going to say 14th in a world half champs is a good result, like based off other half marathon champs over the past few years. That's solid. Still hasn't been able to crack 70 minutes, Izzy. That's her PB. Where do you see Izzy now in the race for that third Olympic spot? Because I'm gonna lock in Lisa and Sinead. So there's one spot left there. Where do you see Izzy in the race for that?
Well, first up, she ran like Budapest, 5 weeks ago?
Yeah, in 2:38.
Yeah, I think this was another chance to get a singlet for starters. The intention to go to these champs. But yeah, where do you put her? Eloise, Ali, Jess coming back from a baby. Who's the fourth one?
Jen Gregson. Jen Gregson is my favourite right now.
Look, I was more excited about Izzy because what did she do? Melbourne? Was it Melbourne last year?
Yeah.
Where she ran she ran well, but then her last couple of marathons have been like below par. So the one in Japan that she did earlier in the year wasn't probably the time that she was hoping to run, and it wasn't an improvement on Melbourne, which I would have sort of expected for her. Was it second marathon or third one? Yeah. And then obviously Budapest wasn't great for her. So, I think Jen's definitely on the up. Izzy's probably hasn't improved in the last year over the marathon.
Do we know where she's running? She's only done one, hasn't she?
Yeah, but I feel like
she'll nail the second one.
With everything else, I think for that to be her first one, with what she's doing over the half, the 10K on the road, I think she's
doing Valencia, isn't she? Aren't they all going to Valencia?
Pretty much. Izzy's doing Valencia as well, isn't she?
Yeah, isn't that what we're talking about? Is he?
Yeah.
Well, Jen hasn't run faster than Izzy over the half. Even Izzy running 70.08 is faster than Jen's run.
I think Jen will, though, and can.
Yep. Well, that's just will and can is different. Just like Izzy probably will and can run the qualifier, getting it done is a different thing, isn't it? And I guess you don't have to run under 70 to get the qualifier. It doesn't really matter what your half PB is or your half time. You've just got to get that spot. And at the moment, we've been talking about how much of a fight it will be, but no one's even got on the board yet.
It's going to be an interesting 6 months. And then you can't rule out Jess either.
Oh Stenson. Yeah, I got a slab on that with Moose.
Right.
Do you?
Yeah.
I'm happy with that. I'll also cash in mine now. I want it next week.
No, I've got another side bet going with Zaka.
Yeah, no, I don't care.
If I lose that one at Melbourne Marathon, he's paying you that one.
Side bets don't matter to me. I'm taking the slab next week.
That wasn't in the terms and conditions, thanks. So that was the half marathons there. There was also a road.
No, that was the women's.
We haven't done the men's.
In the men's, Sebastian Sawi was first in 59.10. He beat Daniel Ebenyo 59.14 and Samuel Malou 59.19. I'm going to be honest, I haven't heard of any of these guys.
Daniel, you would have heard of Daniel.
Yeah, Ebenyo, he maybe won Diamond League hour. Ebenyo has run, I think he won a Commonwealth Games medal last year. Did
you see him salute the other guy when he got past?
Yeah. I did see that.
He was popping with it was only with 200 metres to go, I reckon. He's around 26.58, 59.04. No marathon, hasn't run a marathon yet. So yeah, maybe you haven't seen him. But a track guy, 12.54.
Finished 6th at the World Cross Country this year.
He ran past you, Moose.
Yeah, shit.
Never seen this bloke before. He ran past you 4 times at Bathurst.
Won the 10,000 metres at the Brussels Diamond League this year and finished second at second at the 2022 Com Games in the 10K.
Okay. Look, I don't remember. What about let's not go into all of them. So in the Aussies, Tim Vincent was 48th. He was our first man, 63.40. And our second, we only had 2 there. Ed Goddard was 70th in 65.46. So not bad from Tim, but probably not great either. And I don't think Ed would be happy. I believe he got it maybe ill. I think I saw on social media during the week, so he got bad luck with some sickness. Go into the 5Ks. I'm not sure. When I was watching this, I just didn't feel like it was that needed. Like the 5K road championships, it just felt to me like a little bit of a nothing event. It was decent to watch, but yeah, I just felt like it was kind of almost a little pointless. Whereas I really liked watching the mile, and I liked the half marathon champs has always been a thing. So this new event, the women's 5K, was won by Beatrice Chebet. She kicked down late. She looked brilliant as she ran away. She ran 14:35. She's a steeplechaser. Lillian Rengaruk was second in 14:39, and Algiyuhu Tai was third in 14:40. Caitlin Adams was our best performed. She was 12th in 15:41, and Lauren Ryan was 19th in 15:59. There wasn't a deep field here either. I didn't think. 15:41 for Caitlin. I know she's run a lot faster than that. 12th she would certainly be happy about. I'm not sure how many were in the field, but it definitely didn't look to be too deep. In the men's, Hagos Gebrehiwet.
Just on that before you go, I'm not sure about Beatrice Chebet being the steeplechaser. She's the world cross country champion, ran 14:05 for 5K like last week or 2 weeks ago, but doesn't have a PB here for a steeplechase.
Really?
People be writing in now, Moose.
I just saved you, Moose. Just saved you, so people don't have to write in. Yeah, she's she won World Cross, and now she's the third fastest 5,000 metre runner of all time.
Good from you.
I think third because there's what is there? Segai, and then Kipyegon, and then is Chebet faster than Gide though?
I don't know. I don't know why we talk about this when we don't have it in front of us, boys.
I'll have a look. Well, she's either third or fourth anyway.
I was sure one of the commentators said she was a steeplechaser. I've been stitched up there. The men's, Hagos Gebrehiwet, I reckon he was the favourite going in. Him and Kejelcha were definitely the top two, and it played out like that. So Gebrehiwet's beaten Kejelcha, 2 Ethiopians. 12:59 was the winning time, and 13:02 Kejelcha run. Third place was way back, Nicholas Kipyegon in 13:16. Morgan McDonald ran through the field pretty well. 7th place, 13:26. So a big return for Morgan. Good to see him in an Aussie singlet again. Stewie was 19th in 13:39. So not Stewie's
12 positions in 13 seconds though. Must have been a big pack there.
Stewie lost?
Yeah, well, Stewie's 19th, only 12 seconds or 13 seconds behind Morgan.
Stewie was up there early too. Like he went out relatively hard. Like he was definitely in front of Morgan early on, and then Stewie faded pretty early.
Mate, Stewie was finishing around people that he would have no idea who they are, and everyone was looking ahead around him, going, "Fucking Stewart McSweyn, yeah, I've got to beat him." He would have just been this tall target for all these guys who were kind of just making their first team, and that, like, he was the real scalp they took, and everyone wanted to get past him at the end.
It was a good finish, that one, because it looked like Kejelcha was potentially going to just run Gebrehiwet off his feet, but at 500 to go, Gebrehiwet went bang, and Kejelcha just couldn't go with him.
Yeah. it was good. So, yeah.
Brady, g'day, your girl. She's slower than Chebet. There you go. Yeah.
Found any steeple results for her yet?
Not yet. I'll keep looking.
In the mile, that was a pretty good race, the women's. I liked it. There was a clear favourite. Faith Kipyegon hasn't been beaten all year. Like, all year, no matter what she's run, she fucking won everything. So she was, like, unbackable favourite. Toby Mende probably put $1,000 on her at $1.01, I reckon. And she went to the front, and she just started to drop him from the gun, and it just strung out real quick. And at about, I'm going to say about 1,200 metres in, you just got this sense of desperation from Kipyegon that she hadn't dropped Welteji, and she was sticking to her like glue. And every time Kipyegon would look around, Welteji would just sort of move out of her view a little bit. It was very clever. And she just, like, the facial expressions really told the story. You could have picked that Kipyegon would have gone down probably at about that K mark, I reckon. And it happened pretty quickly. So Welteji went, Kipyegon dropped, and then even at the end, Hailu got through and took Kipyegon. So maybe Kipyegon was one race too many for this season. Perhaps she got to take a rest. She would have hated losing, I reckon.
Also shows the road, though. Road is just different to the track. Like, even the shoes that they wear.
Yeah, it is different, yes. And even being able to see the field, knowing exact distances, like the effort required for 200 metres, if it's not marked out, really hard to be able to judge that stuff. It looks difficult running a mile on the road.
Especially, and it wasn't like a lot of the miles are run sort of, in a straight line or U-turns, whereas this one was, there's still a few sharp turns, like even towards the end of the race, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. It didn't look very fast.
They went through that roundabout.
Yeah, and the roundabout.
And there was, and I reckon there was a little hill in it too.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the court. They were saying it was pretty fast. I know conditions were pretty good, but it wasn't as fast as like the downhill stuff you see over in the US, like the Fifth Avenue Mile.
Yeah.
Jess Hull was our best result for the championship. She was 5th in 4:32. And Sarah Billings was 14th in 4:38. They've given out world records for these miles. I think it's like the first championship it's been eligible for, maybe. Or like, not championship, but race. 50 grand world record bonus.
Yeah.
Wasn't it 50 grand for the win and then 10K for the bonus?
No, I reckon it's the other way around. I thought there was a 50K bonus for the world record. That's what they said on the commentary that I was watching.
Yeah, you could be right. I just know that Hobbs Kessler got
up like moose.
I just know Hobbs Kessler got 60 grand. I thought it was the other way around. Let me look that up while we're talking.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I heard them say that there was a $50,000 bonus for world records at this meet.
We can't trust anything they say, though, Croaks.
Yeah. So Welteji, ran 4:20.98 for the world record. So she actually won by quite a lot. Won by like 3 seconds. Yeah.
She looked good. She looked good the whole way. I think she was second at Diamond League final. So she's been there on the back of Kipyegon every race lately.
Yeah. And the men's race, Moose.
Yeah.
That was the thing I liked about this was like, did you write all these names down?
Yeah, I did.
Missing? Yeah. So, like, in terms of the field, like, this makes a bit of a mockery of the event in a way when you call it a world championship and you've got 8 or 9 of the best milers not running. But in terms of the race itself, it was so close. Like, you couldn't have picked a winner with 150, 200 to go, and they were like right across the road, like eight wide coming to the finish line. So it was an exciting race to watch. But when you've got Ingebrigtsen, Katir, Chariot, Nagus, Kerr, Whiteman, Nordas, like so many top class milers, and even Stewie, like, didn't you say, I don't know if you said it on air or off air to us, that Stewie wanted to run the mile, but couldn't get a start because he hadn't run enough mile races or something. Wasn't something?
Yeah,
was that something Ola said
enough
to you?
1500s or something.
Like,
hadn't qualified.
Which is crazy. But how does that make sense? Like, how is Stewie not getting to run the mile, but Jack Anstey is? Like, it makes no sense at a world championship. Yeah. Anyway, so Hobbs Kessler got the win, 3:56.13, which was a world record. Callum Elson from the UK was second, 3:56.41, and Sam Prakel from the US was third in 3:56.43. Jack Anstey from Australia was 10th in 3:58.3, and Matt Ramsden 12th in 4 minutes flat .32.
Do you know that guy is second? He's that guy from that UK podcast that we're talking about. Not Inside Jogging. Run it three ways.
Right, yeah.
Remember 6 months ago I was talking about how there's like another podcast that's like similar format to ours?
Yeah, and he came for the World Cross. I listened to the recap that he gave.
He was the one I said is a good fighter. Well, he sounds like a good fight. The Welsh guy.
Yeah, now they all sound tough though.
Now he's second at the World Champs.
Yeah, well, do we call it the World Champs? Come on.
Well, you can only beat who's there, Moose.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying this is the World Champs doesn't sound right.
Okay, so you've got to go deeper here. So this World Championship road racing new setup has replaced the World Half Marathon Champs. And you're saying it's a flop because it's too saturated. Like, just do a mile and a half marathon.
I don't know.
Mate, do we really need a road? They've just done all this on the track.
Yeah,
Well, see, that's the issue, Brady. I think it's the timing of it. So I think
But if it's that good a prize money, why weren't those guys there?
Well, they obviously did. Well, some of these top guys,
$60,000 US.
Yeah, money's obviously not an issue for some of these guys, but the problem is it makes a mockery of a world championship. Like, how can it be a world championship when, the top 8-9 guys aren't even there in the men's mile? So, like, I think there's a place for it, but you need these athletes on board, and maybe it's the wrong time of the year. Like, at the end of the season, people have had enough after the Diamond League season. Like, that's it. So it maybe should be done something before the track season starts as a bit of a rust buster. And, the top athletes still turn up. That would make it feel a bit more like a world championship than, the men's mile here where, there's no way those top three are competitive at a world championship against those 9 that we mentioned that weren't there.
But it's also like the men's mile on the road. Like it's kind of like going, the men's mountain running championships on a mountain. Like it's a very rarely run event that's quite niche. And that's like people run the mile on the track. Occasionally there's a novelty event which is on the road. And so they've made a world championships about what's kind of a novelty event at most places.
Do you think it was World Athletics as well trying to maybe cash in on the recreational runner? Because I know that there was recreational races on the same weekend on some of the same courses.
Well, I thought that's how they build the event a little more. I'm not sure how and why, but yeah, I wasn't very invested. All I can do is comment on myself as a fan, and as a fan, I wasn't that invested. I want the half marathon championships to stay strong. I think I've always enjoyed watching that, probably because it's a bit more of a pure, like the distance is pure on the road, the half marathon. That's what we watch. Whereas I've never watched a 5K, like, road world championships before. So just because you call it something doesn't mean that it gives it prestige. Whereas the world half marathon champs has been around for a fairly long time. And it's got like prestige, and all the best half marathons in the world tend to go to it. Whereas it doesn't look like they did here, actually. So, yeah.
I found the prize money. Was $50,000 US bonus for a world record, and then the mile was 10,000 first, 6,000 second, 3,500 third, pays all the way down to 8th. The 5K was 10K first, 7.5 second, 6K third, pays all the way down to 8th. The half marathon was 30,000 for first, 15 for second, 12 for third, and that paid down to 12th. So that probably answers why the the depth was there in the half more than the other two events.
So question for both of you then. In 5 to 10 years' time, does the men's road mile world championship and the women's and the men's and women's 5K road world championships, does it exist? So is it going to grow from here, or is it just going to fizzle out?
I don't see it growing.
And Brady, you'll just sit on the fence.
No, I was going to say the same, Croaks. Going to say the same as Moose. Just give us some hard, fast. Remember, the Ia Tran. He was just he was just a specialist at this, wasn't he? People trying to take him down.
The half is great.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. That's what I want to see.
It's a spectacle event. Make it its own event. I felt like it was really diluted with these other races. I didn't like that. Make it its spectacle. Get people there. Showcase it. Like that Valencia, the one that they did at Valencia was epic.
And Warhol, he was a gun at the world half as well.
Remember he ran sub 13 for the last 5K. That was great watching back then.
All right, let's move on. That was the World Road Racing Champs. Listener question, Croaks.
All right, the question this week: what are some key things to review and discuss with your coach post-marathon race? And that question comes in from Money for Jam on Instagram, but I believe his name is Pierre.
Bit of this be going on after Berlin, Sydney, Melbourne in a couple of weeks will be happening as well.
It's a good question. I quite like this one.
It's funny though, isn't it? Like, the better it goes, the less you might debrief it, discuss it.
Not necessarily. I still think there's a lot of things after every marathon block to review. Different elements. So, like for me, it's probably debrief the race itself. So, like things that you did well in the race, things that you stuffed up in the race. So that probably comes down to like pacing and nutrition, the things that on that day you did well or didn't do well. Then let's take a step back, look at the block itself and go, all right, where do we think our strengths and weaknesses were in the block? Did we do not enough, volume, not enough, sessions at marathon pace, those real long grindy sessions? Were you running too many miles for all the other stresses that you had in your life? So that, reviewing the block itself. And then I then take a step back even further and go, okay, it's unlikely now that you're going to run another marathon for the next 6 months. What are you like as a runner? Like, are you somebody that doesn't have much strength and we need to improve your strength? Or are you a runner that runs the marathon purely off strength and we could actually try and improve your 5 and 10K a little bit to make you faster over the marathon? So they're probably the three levels that I look at with an athlete after a marathon.
Did you mention enjoyment factor of some of the workouts or the long runs and stuff as well? I find all that's always good. Like, what motivated you? What did you like seeing on the program? What didn't you like seeing on the program?
Yeah, I haven't asked that one too many times.
Just to get a bit of personality, figure that stuff out.
Hey, he's not there to have fun with people. He's there to get a marathon PBs.
He's there to get results.
This is the difference between Croaks and you. One's a recreational running coach, one's a performance coach.
Yeah, because they tell me I don't most people, I'm the same. The sessions that I don't like doing, they're the ones that are actually good for me. So if I'm just asking them, what don't you like doing? And then go, okay, I won't give you those anymore.
I want to know the holistic approach, Croaks, I want to see what gets people out of bed, what doesn't get them out of bed, that kind of stuff. Anyway, get to know your athletes better, I reckon, mate.
They're my three tiers.
What do you got, Moose?
That's pretty good. I mean, I look and see where things... Normally it's like why the race went bad if it went bad. And you kind of go back through and go, what could we have done differently? And can we identify the issue that caused the problem? That's my main thing. Because no one's block goes perfectly. There's always something there. So you can always discuss that. I like to talk to someone and just get their mood and their vibe a few days after the race. That's pretty telling, I reckon. And you can see if they immediately you can sort of tell if they're keen to go again or if they're enjoying their break or what their goals will be going forward. and they've had it. They're close enough to the marathon to sort of have still some strong emotions attached to the finish of it, but they've also had time to think about it. So for me, timing is important in that review. Like, the question's a good one for sure, but even the timing of that is good. Like, I think you don't want to forget what you were feeling immediately after. I think they're really true emotions. And if you leave it a week, it's very easy to forget what you were actually feeling like at the end and your emotional response to, like, in the 24, 48 hours afterwards. I think that's important to capture. So the time, like, you guys covered a lot of it, but the timing's really good.
Sydney was a great example of that. Like, people being super hard on themselves that day. And it wasn't until they, like, saw everyone else's results, and it's like, hey, let's look at this elite field. Let's look at everyone else who was out there that day. Let's look what the weather actual temperature was at the start and the middle and the end of the race. So, like, we were 4 minutes off or 2 minutes off or whatever we thought. That's the factor. You weren't the outlier. The day was the outlier.
Yeah. I just watched that today, actually, Sydney. Like, the replay of it.
Oh, did you?
Jeez, you feature heavily.
Do I?
Yeah.
Bit of airtime.
Never anywhere near the women.
I mean, did you see me spinning my head around?
No.
Still got a sore neck from turning around so much in that race. You got paid yet?
Oh, no, I haven't actually.
I reckon there's some clause.
I can't wait.
Must be in good standing with the race.
Welcome to episode 360 of the Inside Running Podcast. Moose, have you been paid yet?
Have you been paid?
I don't discuss my financial matters on air, Moose.
I would love that. If Brady has been paid and then, episode 369 rolls around and Moose, you got your payment yet?
Let's go to purchase of the week, Moose. Moose on the loose, what do you got, talking money?
Oh, yeah. I got a new bar fridge, actually. So I've decided I'd fill it with a number of different beverages, and I turn it down really cold because it's been quite warm lately. And, gee, there is nothing better than coming home for a cold with a slight layer of ice on top of electrolyte cold water. It is water, but with electrolyte powder in it. Oh, just come back from your run, you're sweaty, you're hot, you don't really feel like eating anything, but you have just the coldest beverage waiting for you.
Until you get brain freeze.
Do you have water? Yeah. Do you have bottles of water in the bar fridge?
Yeah, jugs of water. I keep it in the bar fridge.
Okay.
Our milk froze overnight in the accommodation that we're staying at in the bar fridge.
Oh, yeah, you got to.
Yeah, that happens.
Viv poured it out this morning, and she's like, "Did you have milk in your coffee?" I'm like, "Yeah, it was fine." And then she showed me it's like this lump of ice on top of a cereal.
You know who else had that problem? Cam Levins in Driven.
Oh yes.
Did he?
Yeah, that is a big old school reference, Moose.
Yeah, well done,
taking me
Moose.
back.
That's like the only other time I've heard of that happening.
He was running triples, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah. She's in good company then, Viv.
Yeah.
Where's your bar fridge, Moose? Where'd you put it?
When it's 18 degrees, pretty different to like Utah, wherever they were when it was like -10.
Where have you placed it in your house?
It's next to the main fridge.
Oh, really? Just a fridge next to a fridge?
Yeah, I can't be fucked walking down the staircase to get it from the like my office, so I've just put it next to the fridge, and that's the perfect place to get drinks from.
Bar fridge in the new home gym would be pretty handy, I reckon, as well.
Yeah.
Straight after the workout.
You know, I'd put chocolate milks and stuff in there.
Better than right next to the fridge that you've got upstairs. Like, yeah, put it in the gym.
That's a long way down the bottom of the house.
You don't know how big this house is you're talking, Crooks.
This staircase is steep. It's not big. It's just a very steep staircase.
Covers 2 postcodes.
So I need to keep it handy, because if I'm going down those stairs and back up, that's another like 40 calories.
All right. Do you want me to go to Whispers of the Week?
Yeah, do it.
Should I say like that segment's like copyright or something, so other podcasts don't start doing it?
Oh yeah, good.
Someone did comment on my Strava saying like, Brady, why didn't you trademark your format of the podcast to save people ripping you off? And I'm like, good. That was probably the only insightful comment I got on my Strava all week.
Well, didn't you rip it off from Marathon Talk?
No, I didn't rip anything off from Marathon Talk. Maybe like the end of the show interview.
Yeah. Training week.
They never recapped the training week, Monday through to Sunday.
No. What, you're saying we're the first ever podcast to go through
Monday
training
through
weeks?
to Sunday, yep. They used to be like, on Tuesday.
Before.
You find it. You find it and show me.
Did we start before Inside Jogging Podcast?
Yes, we did. Anyway, across my desk, this one got sent in. Matt Fox, friend of the show, your mate Croaks, Sweat Elite boy, ran Berlin Marathon a couple of weeks ago, and in one of his Strava comments, I personally don't follow him, but he mentioned...
Wait. You break 220?
Croaks? No? Yes? No, I think he just missed it. One of them just missed it, him and Nick Bester. Which one just missed it, Croaks?
I think they both just missed it.
Okay, so what do you run, like 221 or something? Anyway.
A bit slower, I think.
We're not getting into results. Anyway, in his Strava comments, he made comment about how he was pacing an Australian record at the Valencia Marathon, which I felt was fascinating. And then when I saw the elite field for Valencia Marathon this week, only one Australian on there, Lisa Waitman, which is huge news that she's doing a fast marathon. So I'm just putting two and two together. This is what the listener sent in, that be prepared, boys, to see an Australian record attempt in December at Valencia with Matt Fox pacing Lisa Waitman.
Ooh, whisper.
Keep
That's
a watch
a big
on that.
from
Well, it wasn't actually. It was documented well within his comments, but just keep an eye on that. Second one, Ryan Gregson, debut at Melbourne Marathon next week. Heard anything about it? Some whispers across my desk. The previous Australian record holder for 1,500 metres. Good at cross country too. This could be a big debut that's gone under the radar.
I haven't heard anything official, but I have seen a few things.
This isn't a segment for official stuff, Croaks. This is just whispers.
No. Well, I have seen things on social media, though, that indicate he is doing like longer marathon-type training. So it would make sense that, if he's doing that sort of training, then, he's obviously looking to run a marathon. And remember, Jem was talking about potentially doing Melbourne or Valencia. So she's obviously chosen Valencia, but maybe Ryan will try and come down and pick up was it 20,000 for first?
20,000, yep. Keep an eye on that one. My third one, this one come from a concerned listener. Patrick Tiernan, Chicago Marathon's happening this week. Hasn't raced since Chicago last year. Are you boys concerned about the lack of action we're seeing from Patrick Tiernan? Like, is it a worry? Is it a watch? Like, I know he moved groups from Oregon Track Club to...
It was with Puma now.
Yeah, it's with Puma. But what's his coach name? She's two partners, husband and wife. Very credentialed, but just a bit of a watch on. This is a guy who was at the Bell at the 2021 Olympics, 10,000 metres. The lack of racing we've seen in him since the last 12 months concerns me.
Yeah, me too.
He was meant to do the World Champs, but obviously got injured. Because he was named in that team. Yeah,
he was. So just a couple of whispers across my desk this week, fellas. If you got one, send them in to me. Got any of your own ones?
No, but it sounds like you don't have any of your own either. You just read out what listeners sent to you.
Listeners.
That's how you get them, though. That's how you
go,
get them.
folks.
Yeah. So, I don't have anything. No.
All right, what's coming up? Chicago Marathon. The weather's looking amazing. Be prepared to see those Adidas shoes go around, Croaks. So I reckon we see some big times dropping this weekend. Need to get myself a pair of those before Osaka moves. And this week's interview is with Zach Facioni from the new signed professional athlete with On. Had a good chat with Zach last week. He was great value. Did you listen to this on your car ride, Croaks?
Listened to this one on one of my runs last week, actually.
He's well spoken, isn't he?
Yeah, he speaks really well.
Yeah, good ambassador for that brand, that's for sure. So I hope the listeners enjoy that one. That's coming at you now. Moose, what are you doing between now and next week?
I'm going to start training again. I've got to hit that momentum, get it back. Tomorrow I'm going to read out, we're going to announce the winner of the TRC Geelong competition. We haven't done that yet.
How are you going to pick it?
Well, we pick it. We do a random number generator. We're going to get the numbers off. Zach is going to do that hard shit, all right? Why you ask? This is Zach's job. He's a genius at that stuff. Someone will get a $300 voucher to the store. How good's that?
That's good price.
The only stipulation with that is that they have to spend an extra $300 to activate it.
Yeah, postage is $300.
Yeah.
Croaks, what are you doing between now and next week other than your heart stuff?
Yeah, I get to go full gas tomorrow, see how high I can get my heart rate. And then, driving home on Thursday. And, not too much. We're actually off to Noosa next Tuesday for a few days. Yeah.
For a holiday?
Well, Viv's school friend's getting married. It's like a Thursday wedding, so we're flying up on the Tuesday, and then we're coming back on the Saturday. So the day before Melbourne Marathon, we get home.
Kids?
Yeah. No kids.
Oh.
Yeah.
Noosa with no kids, Moose.
Yeah.
How long for?
So what, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 4 nights.
Jesus.
Yeah, so actually I should give a massive shout out to Viv's parents. So like they're looking after our kids like while we're down in Melbourne for this, and then again next week. So
they listen to the show.
No, they don't, but still want to give them a huge shout out. And
that's the life, isn't it? Geez, only a school teacher could get away with that midweek.
I don't know how much teaching he's doing, Moose. This guy doesn't help me when I'm trying to back teachers here.
Where are you staying in Noosa?
Don't know. Well, we booked somewhere through Airbnb. It's not too far from the beach.
Taking your puffer? Don't you have to wear a puffer when you go for a walk up there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking annoying. That annoys me. Yeah, you'll be shirts off.
And Pat Tiernan's coached by Amy and Alistair Cragg.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. What are you doing, Brady?
Just working, Croaks, working, running. That's it. Not much. Just want to stay home the next couple of weekends. Been doing too much travel. So nothing exciting at my end. All right, boys. Let's say goodbye. Do it all again next week.
Have a good week.
Yeah.
See ya.
This week's guest on the Inside Running podcast is an upcoming star who finds himself back in Australia after a successful college running career. He has recently turned pro as part of the OAC Oceania group. Welcome to the Inside Running podcast, Zach Facioni.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here.
No worries at all. I think we find you in Melbourne. It's about 1 p.m. on a sunny, what day is it today? Wednesday afternoon where I am. Is it pretty similar where you are?
Yeah, no, it's pretty nice actually today. It's been beautiful down in Melbourne the last few days, so it's looking good.
Oh, I didn't want to get into it early, but we will. You found yourself in Melbourne as part of the OAC Oceania group, but you're a Sydney boy originally. So were there hesitations about moving down to Melbourne?
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know this. I went to high school in Sydney. I was actually born in Melbourne and went all of primary school here. So I've lived most of my life in Melbourne actually. So it's kind of like a return home in a way.
Ah, cool. Yeah, I didn't know that. And I was talking to my co-host Brad Croker, who was telling me about your early days with Botany Harriers and the part of that successful like Ken Green kind of, I guess, Jeremy Roth kind of era in Sydney. Yep. So yeah, I definitely didn't know about that early start in Melbourne.
Yeah. Start of my running career was all Sydney though. So for the most part, it's been Sydney based.
So when we saw you at Bundoora Park a couple of weeks ago for the XCR stuff, you never ran there as a junior?
No, it was a rude awakening. It was not an easy course.
We'll get to that a bit later on as well because I want to chat to you about what the kind of differences are between the cross country stuff you've experienced over the years. But what we do on this show, Zach, is we usually go through people's PBs to start and kind of introduce you to our audience. So I'm going to start with 1500. You're a 3:39 man, is that correct?
Yep, that's correct, from a few years ago now.
Yeah, it's a good, it's an interesting one. Like, it's an amazing time, but 3:39 kind of doesn't get you anywhere at the moment with the current Australian distance running crop. Yeah,
a few years ago that would have been a lot more impressive than it probably is today, but now you've got, 18-year-olds running low 3:30s, so 3:39 definitely isn't what it used to be.
Do you, because we'll go through the other PBs in a second, but you're successful over the longer distances as well, I guess the middle distances. Like, do you see yourself as a 1,500 metre man, or is it more so drop down to work on the speed?
I don't think I'm a 1,500 metre runner. Just from like to be a true 15 guy, I think you need to be a championship 1,500 runner. I mean, I don't want to get into it too deeply, but I think you could say the same thing about someone like Jakob. Like, he can run a fast 15, but I don't think he's a 1,500 runner. So I think I'm definitely a 5K guy, but I would like to kind of get down and dabble in the 15 a bit more, because it's one of those things, like, if you want to be a really good 5K guy, you almost need to be an even better 15 guy in terms of just like how fast you can run. So a bit of both if I can get it done.
Hang on, so the Olympic champion over 1,500 metres is not a 1,500 metre guy. Is that what you're telling me?
That is exactly what I'm telling you. Yep.
Go deeper for me. I get how he's been tactically exposed the last couple of world champs, but go deeper. Is that what you mean?
That is what I mean. I mean, if a guy like that is going to get beaten in the last 2 World Championships and then just walk to a win in the 5K against a slew of 12:40 guys. I think it's safe to argue that is a 5K guy more so than a 1500 guy. I'm not saying he can't run a good 15. I think championship racing wise, he is a 5K guy more than a 1500 guy. And I think he knows that deep down as well.
Okay, I think so. But what about the rebuttal of that would be that the 5K guys haven't worked to their strength as much as the 1500 metre guys are against him. Do you know what I mean? Like, they still take it out slow and want to kick it down, whereas they need to run him off his feet early in the race.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think in the next few years, if we see Jakob really go for it in the 5, though, I reckon we're going to see some pretty ridiculous times coming out of him. So I don't know if running him out is particularly easy.
Yeah, true. I will let you know, though, Norway is our second biggest listenership. So there's probably about 7,000 Norwegian listeners who will listen to this episode next week. So I'm just glad we got there early on in the interview.
Don't want to start any controversy. It's going to be a very diplomatic podcast. Wholesome.
Let's go to your 3K, 7:51. Tell us any stories about that one.
Yeah, that was over COVID, outdoors, at state 3K champs from memory. That one I led from start to finish pretty much. It was a good race, actually. I had Nippers and Jai Edwards in there behind me. Pretty sure I messaged Nipper not long before the race asking if he would be willing to kind of trade off some laps with me. And he seemed pretty keen to just not do that and sit on me for the race, which is fine. And I think he ended up running a PB, so it worked out well for him. But yeah, I think my indoor 3 is actually slightly faster than that as well.
Okay, yeah. I was going to say, like, it'd be pretty rare for you to have a PB that was set in Australia.
Yeah. I ran 7:46 earlier this year in Boston indoors.
Yeah, my apologies. There's NCAA guys who have to scroll down a bit further on their profile to see all these things.
Yeah.
5K, I'd say probably your most impressive PB, maybe. It's up to you. You can tell me that. Like 13:27 back in April this year.
Yep. Yeah. I think that's up there. I think it's debatable whether that or the 3K is technically better, but I'm very happy with that 5. Yeah. I think it was a long time coming, getting under that 13:30 barrier. I had a good few years of running 30 to 35, so it was good to finally crack that.
Yeah. And was that a Wake Forest record as well? The college
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a record, yeah.
Which would be good to take one. That'd be a big deal over there, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, I had the 5K record. I broke it first when I was a freshman. I ran 13:48, and that was a record. So I just kind of kept continually breaking my own record for the last 5 years or so.
Oh, that's good for the ego. Take that.
I know.
The 10K, I hope this is wrong, because you could surely go quicker than this. 30:21. That's all I could find.
Correct. That is correct. There's the first and only track 10K I've run. It was at ACC Champs, and from memory, we went through 5K in about 16:10 or something.
Wow, yeah, door.
Yeah, it was absolute jog fest, and I think the guy that won it went and closed in like 54 or something crazy, so it was just a big wind-up.
Will you look to do more of that, though? Like, I know Honor going to play a big part in, I guess, kind of like a revamp of Zatopek maybe in December. Like, will you be on the line there, you thinking?
Yeah, that's the plan right now, is to try and hit the 10K there and run something quick. I think I've got a fast 10K in me, so I'd really like to actually have an honest go at it that isn't, tactical jog fest or whatever. So yeah, that's the current plan.
And when you say fast, how fast are you thinking? Like sub 28, 28:10?
I think, without getting too ahead of myself, I think sub 28 is definitely on the table. I would like to push as close to 27:30, 27:45 in that range. I think is doable, but a lot of it depends on the race. I mean, I don't really know how my body's going to react in a fast 10 because I've never really done one before. But I think from a pure like fitness standpoint, I reckon that should be possible.
Yeah, off the back of that, sub 13:30 5K, you'd think slowing it down to 13:55, 14 minutes is going to feel pretty chilled out through half.
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully.
That's the idea.
Doesn't always work like that, though, does it? Just mathematically.
No.
Another PB I wanted to talk to you about was, this was just a couple of weeks ago, last weekend, I reckon. The 12K, that's appeared on your IAAF or World Athletics profile. 34.33 for 12K at the Australian Road Running Champs over at Cedar Bay in Adelaide. More quick time, but I think more impressively is you're only 9 seconds behind Jack Rayner. He was the only guy in front of you to get the win. And Jack, people know, a lot of listeners to our show would know that we bang on about Jack all the time. Pretty much, I think Moose calls him unbeatable on the roads domestically, but you got pretty close to him.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure a lot of people would know this because it's hard to kind of see how the race would have run, but maybe a bit naively, I actually took him on with probably around 5K to go and took the lead and tried to drop him. There are a few times when I thought I'd had a bit of a gap and I was like, oh, maybe I've caught him off guard here. And then 1,500 or so to go, he just kind of blew past me, put a gap on and just held it for the rest of the race. So I tried, but yeah, he was way too good on the day.
That's good to hear because I don't think he would have been in that situation many times in the last couple of years in Australia. And we definitely had no idea because I don't think they do a live stream of that race and you kind of just get the results. And I think their results were pretty messed up for a couple of days as well last week. So, yeah, it's good to hear how it actually unfolded.
Yeah, no, it was good fun, actually. I really enjoyed it. It's my first real road race. I did the Noosa Bolt years ago, back in, 2017. But it's not really a road race. I mean, it's like loops and it's only a 5K. So in terms of true road running, this was what I'd consider my first one. So it was good fun. Yeah.
And you're obviously pretty excited to be part of the On team. We've had a couple of their big signings. Ben Buckingham, I call him the headliner. On the show, and it seems like there's a big vibe kind of created amongst the group, and I must admit it's good to see another male, I guess, on that team. It was pretty female and pretty development heavy early days. I think that's fair to say, playing the long game, whereas you can kind of see Bucks as making teams. Well, he didn't make this year's World Champs team, but he made Olympics and has made World Champs in the past and Com Games and stuff like that, and hopefully you're not far off that stage as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's been awesome. I mean, Bucks has done a really good job kind of holding it down, and I think one of the biggest issues of getting more guys to join up the group is you've almost got to make that first leap. And I think Bucks did that, but then not a lot of people really followed suit, and I guess it was a lot of question marks as to who else was planning on joining the group in the future and how it was going to turn out. But I believed in Craig and what he was trying to build, and obviously I've seen the massive success that the US group has had, and I think On as a brand is very supportive and looks after their athletes really well. So I had pretty much no hesitations, and I knew once the group got going, people would be lining up to try and join. And I don't know if that's necessarily the case, but it seems like people are pretty interested in what's going on here. So yeah, no, it's been awesome so far.
Can you take us behind the scenes, as much as you're happy to share? How did you go from being a college guy to a professional athlete? And although you're from Australia, you're still moving back to Australia, I suppose. We've kind of seen the Ollie and the kind of Morgan they stayed over there. The Jess Hull stayed over there for a while as well. Now she's back. But how does it look for you? Do you employ an agent and then they try and get you a contract? Or, tell me, because a lot of our listeners, and me included, would have no idea what it looks like.
Yeah, no, it's kind of a weird industry. It's very kind of cloak and daggery in the shadows. Not a lot of people really talk about how it all goes. And I think the US especially is really difficult because there's the whole visa process that goes along with it. And having talked to a few mates in the States who are trying to go pro over there, if you're an international, it can be very, very complicated. It's months of filling out paperwork and getting recommendation letters from meet directors and your athletic director from your school. And if you don't have an agent in your corner, it's almost impossible to do it by yourself. So in that sense, you almost have to be lucky enough for an agent to reach out to you early enough to kind of get the process started. Because if you're one of those guys that is just I kind of want to go pro, I'll kind of try and start this process by myself, you're already months behind everyone else who's already had agents reach out. So I think from that standpoint, this group was really nice, just personally. But I mean, the way it kind of worked out for me is Craig reached out to me, I want to say 14, 15 months ago, kind of June last year when I was at NCAAs. I still had a year to go of college at that point, but he was basically just this is what I'm trying to build. Are you interested? And at that point I was yes, it sounds great, but I've got another year of school. So from that point on, we were keeping in contact a little bit. And then eventually Whippy entered the equation, and he kind of helped me through the whole process, did all my contract negotiation, figured out all the paperwork and all that stuff. And now he's kind of become my de facto agent as a result of that. So it's one of those things where you kind of just fall into it in a way. It can be very confusing and varies a lot from person to person, but that it just kind of fell into place for me, more or less.
Yeah, and I guess, like, unless you're absolutely dominating in the States at college and the agents can see you as, we can get this guy, I don't know, let's just say $100,000 a year off the top of our heads, and we can take 15 or 20 or 10% or whatever they do, you're probably not getting approached by those agents. Would that be fair to say? Like, they're just looking for the guy who they can sell off to a brand really quick?
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of it's like based heavily on obviously NCAA outdoors. Indoors kind of matters, but if you can just ball out at an NCAA outdoor meet, you will be so much more valuable than you otherwise would be. Like Olin Hacker from Wisconsin's a perfect example of that. He was obviously very good, but until he won that NCAA outdoor title in the 5K, his value would have been nothing compared to what it was after he won that. So as soon as you win that title, your value skyrockets, and agents are probably like lining up to sign you. And then once you're in the motions, everything can move quite quickly, and you could be signed to a group very fast. But unless you're one of those top guys who has been really competitive for years, like a Kai Robinson, for example, you're kind of waiting on that one breakout performance that is going to kind of thrust you into that process and get it all kicked off.
Yeah, it's interesting. And then I think Kai, did he just sign an NIL deal with On?
Yeah, with On.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Did they mention if that was on Oceania or on America, or do you know where he is going to land potentially?
I'm not sure about the specifics. I don't know if you can sign an NIL with a specific OAC group. I think it's more the brand as a whole, from what I understand.
Yeah. He'd make a pretty good training partner, though, getting around the tan, Albert Park with him.
Fantastic, I know. So hopefully we can snag him and get him down here. Got to prove that the team's worth joining first over the next 12 months. But
yeah.
And
then, so I guess, is it, like, would have you turned pro if there wasn't this On opportunity? Because it sounds like it was perfect timing, and it's just like, yes, how good's this?
I think in hindsight, I got incredibly lucky with, this kind of opportunity presenting itself when it did, and just kind of being in the right place at the right time and showing the amount of interest that I did early on. I think I would have obviously liked to have turned pro if this opportunity wasn't there, but I just didn't have any other options, really. I hadn't quite run fast enough. I didn't place high enough at any NCAA champs, so I don't think I would have been able to sign a contract anywhere else if this hadn't kind of come around my way.
What was it like when the first email or phone call or text message? I'm not sure how he did it. I'm sure it's not.
He Instagram DM'd me.
I was about to say, I'm sure it wasn't an Instagram DM from Craig Mottram, because he's not very active on Instagram. But you're a bit younger than me, but he was the man when I was growing up running. Is it the same for you? Were you like, hey, screenshot this, send it to a few mates? Look who's messaging me.
The message came through while I think I was sitting outside with Thomas Van Offen, who was the guy on my team that was there, a 1500 guy, and I was like, holy shit, look at this. And I just showed him the message and was kind of losing it a little bit. It was very cool when it first came through. I mean, as soon as you read like OAC and then OAC Oceania building up a new branch, I was like, yeah, I think I've got to be a part of this.
Yeah. So then, I'm not sure, has it officially been, I know it's in your Instagram bio, but have it officially been announced yet? Like, I haven't seen you in too many of the promos and stuff yet. I've seen like Luke Bell's Instagram stories, you're kind of popping up there and stuff, but how long have you been in Melbourne, and like, what's it kind of looked like, the transition, I guess?
Yeah, so it hasn't been officially announced from the brand. I've kind of been not hesitant, but like waiting a little bit just to see where everything's at. I know they wanted to wait on the announcement side of things until after World Champs, just to get a bit of clean air with it all, because there was a lot of stuff going on around then, and I think they wanted to introduce all the new members at once. But I think I'm kind of in a spot now where enough people know that it's not really a surprise anymore, so I can probably come out and say it like officially. But Yeah, sorry, what was the second part of your question?
The transition to
Yes.
back from the States and Melbourne and settling into a new training group, new coach.
Yeah, so I got back from the States, I think mid-June. I was thinking about going over to Europe, actually. We were trying to figure out some plans of getting over there and racing for a bit, but the collegiate season is very mentally draining, more so than physically draining, so you kind of get to the end of it. Unless you're, like, running really well, it's really tough to keep going on. So we kind of just decided to pack it up, come home, have a bit of a rest, and then I was up at home in Sydney for maybe about a month, drove down to Melbourne, I should say, and then kind of set up mid-July. I got down a week before Bandura, whenever that was. I think that was mid to late July, around there. But the transition's been great, actually. Craig's been really good. It's always tricky when you go to a new coach because you never know how their training's going to impact you or whether you're going to respond to it very well or not. But Craig, in general, has been very conservative with getting me on the new program. Like, we're going from doing two sessions a week in the States to, 3 most weeks here. So that's quite a big jump. And if you try and push that too hard too early, it's easy to get it, injured or burn out or anything like that. So Craig's been really good and just been gradually building into it, but definitely starting to feel like I'm finding my feet now and feel settled in, routines all set up. So it's been good. Yeah,
and then do they assist with that, like living arrangements and things like that? Or have you got mates and stuff in Melbourne still when you're a kid or family, or like, because that'd be hard, wouldn't it? Like moving to a new spot, I guess I guess that you hope that on family kind of wraps around you.
Yeah, no, I got actually really lucky. I'm living with Tess Cole, who's one of the 800-meter runners on the team, and they just happened to be in this house with a couple spare rooms looking for a roommate right around the time I was moving down. So it was a really easy transition into that. But other than that, I think there's a house that is being rented out currently for a lot of the new people, which is kind of like the on house, I guess you could call it. So they're all living together, which is great. Because otherwise, it's really tricky moving to a new city, especially if you're like living by yourself, trying to train hard in this new city with new people. It can be all very stressful. So I'm really thankful for the situation that I have, for sure.
Yeah, sounds like you're settled in pretty well. I did like the reference to Bandura. I run in the same team as Andy Buchanan, who won that day, and we were standing out the front of the Portaloos just waiting our turn. And you wouldn't have probably seen this, but you just popped out of one of the Portaloos, and Andy kind of looked at me, and I looked at him, and he's like, "What the hell is he doing here?" Like, we absolutely, it's like, it's just, AV is very much a everyone knows everyone kind of thing, and everyone kind of can predict the order of the first 5, and then, 13:27 guy walks out of the toilets, and we're just like, what's happening here? What's the go? So yeah, you transitioned pretty quick into that scene.
Yeah, no, we did not have a lot of time coming back from that. I took a visit down like right after I got home to Melbourne just to check out the setup and everything. And Craig's like, "Yeah, I think we'll run you in State Cross in a couple of weeks." At that point, I'd like been just coming off of a break. I was barely getting back into running, and I was like, "Oh, all right, guess we're doing this early." But yeah, no, it was fun. It was brutal though. Didn't expect it to be quite as hard as it was, but yeah, no, it was definitely a fun race.
Yeah, and the depth in Victoria, like we bang on about it all the time, that cross-country scene. Were you like 4th or 5th that day?
No, I think I was 8th.
8th, yeah, okay. Yeah, my point exactly.
Yeah. I was 4th for a while, and then I think I blew up pretty hard in the last like K and a half, 2Ks. But yeah, no, the depth is insane. I mean, just looking at the names of the guys that were ahead of me and kind of some of their track accolades and that kind of thing, like you've got some real heavy hitters just running, everyday state cross meets. And then you've got all the guys that didn't even run, like Rayner and Brett. You've got all these other Victorians who aren't even racing. But yeah, Victorian running scene's a whole nother level than what I'm used to in Australia anyway. You'll
probably miss out on a lot of that. Like, I guess your plans will be to base yourselves overseas for the European season in future, though?
Yeah, for the most part, I think that's the plan. Yeah, so I don't know if we'll be doing a lot of cross stuff here.
That's a shame, because Melbourne Uni are running for, aren't you? That's a shame for their Premier Division team. Sure, they would have loved you running 10 rounds next year, but that's okay. You touched on the changes in training before from Wake Forest. Who was the head coach at Wake Forest?
John Hayes is his name.
Yeah.
He coached at NAU a few years ago, Lopez Lamong, and coached Leo Manzano for a bit as well when he ran 3:30 from memory.
Yeah, some good names there. Was he there when Dave McNeil was there?
I think he was part of recruiting Dave. I think he left just before Dave got there. But
Okay.
he was. I'm sure Dave would know who he is.
Yeah. So you kind of had these three, I know Ken Green to start off with as well, like three pretty well-credentialed coaches. And I guess the question is because Sydney with Ken would have been similar to what Craig's doing now with the 3 workouts a week?
Yeah, definitely a lot closer.
Like
Yeah.
that traditional Australian kind of... Well, tell us what you're doing now. We might work our way back.
Yeah, so at the moment, a lot of it's pretty bread and butter stuff, honestly. I mean, it's still very early days in the season, so the way we're approaching training right now is just trying to get as strong as possible. So Tuesdays have been a lot of, like, just threshold stuff. Craig's trying to come up with different creative ways to break it up, so it's not just doing 8x K every week. So yesterday we did, like, 3x2K with alternating laps. We were going, like, 66s and 74s and did 3 2Ks like that. So you're averaging out at like 70s, but you're like speeding up, slowing down, that kind of thing. So yeah, Tuesdays have just been roughly 8K of threshold broken up in some form. Thursdays have been doing a lot of progression runs. So like 16Ks, start at like 420, 430K pace and work down to like 315s, that kind of thing. And then Saturdays have been either fartleks, like I did a few monas when I first got down, and then more recently we've been hitting some hills at Wattle Park, which has been really good.
And the Sunday long run?
Yeah, Sunday long run. We've been out at Listerfield pretty much every single Sunday since I've been here.
Yeah.
Not crazy distances, honestly. I've been doing, I want to say like between 20 and 24K long runs, whereas in the States I was hitting 16 to 18 miles, which is like high 20s, almost 30Ks. So it's been nice dropping that down a bit.
You getting rolling on the Sunday, or you're just kind of still recovering from the Saturday workout?
Crazy. Yeah, I think when we're hitting the Saturdays pretty hard, especially on hills, Craig wants to keep Sundays pretty easy, especially because Listerfield's quite hilly in and of itself. So if you're hitting Sunday hills hard and then you've got Saturday hills hard as well, it's just a lot of pounding back to back.
Yeah, and when you're saying easy, like what's the Garmin say at the end, average pace?
It'd be around, since I've got the boys down, it'd be kind of 410 to 420-ish, around that range.
There's a lot of our listeners who probably are a bit slower than you over 5K that jog at similar pace, that we're constantly telling them to slow down their long runs, their easy runs, things like that. Just
many long runs.
Yeah. But then I heard an interview with you at Wake Forest. Weren't you doing two workouts a week, but both of them were threshold, and then you'd smack the long run a bit?
Yeah. So we used to do... The States are very different. I was doing a lot of, especially in my last year there, we were doing a lot of double threshold stuff. So like we'd be doing threshold technically 4 times a week, but 2 on Tuesday and then 2 on Friday. And then we would almost use our Sunday long runs as like a third workout. Honestly, you could look at my wake training. I don't know if it's up anywhere, but if you would like had it out in a big sheet and you looked at it, you'd think it was marathon training the way we actually ran. Like we'd be doing 18-mile long runs, which I think is 28 or 29K. You'd do the first like 2 or 3K easy, and then you just hammer the rest of it. You just hammer 25Ks over like rolling hills.
When you say hammer though, you like talking race effort or like just like a steady kind of pickup?
We'd get down to probably, what would we average? There were a few that I did where I'd average around 540 miles, which is, I think...
330-ish?
Yeah, 330 to 340 Ks for 25, 26 Ks over hills.
Over hills, yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. And I think it was really good at the time, but I think looking back, it's one of those things where I don't know if the benefit you get from it is really worth the strain you put on your body, especially in track season. I think it's good for cross. When you're training for a 10K cross race, you need that kind of that effort. But in a track season, I don't know how beneficial that was. But it's just another way of doing it, I guess.
And then the double threshold days, like, can you give us an example of do you go Tuesday, Friday?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tuesday, Friday.
What do the mornings and afternoons look like on the Tuesday, Friday?
Yeah, so a lot of them would be just like an example Tuesday. We'd do like either 2Ks or miles at what we'd call marathon pace, which is slightly slower than threshold. So in season, if I was running threshold pace at like 3-minute Ks, it's 4:48 miles, I'd be doing marathon pace at like 5:10 to 5:20 miles, which is like, I don't know, 3:10, 3:15 Ks in that range. So just like 10, 15 seconds a K slower. And you do kind of 4 to 5 miles or like 3 to 4 2Ks, and then come back that afternoon a few hours later. Sometimes we do lots of 400s. So one we do fairly often was like 2400s at like 70 to 72 off of a 100 jog, something like that. Like long continuous stuff, or you'd hit 8 by K, that kind of thing. Yeah.
That's a big day, isn't it, though? Like, how do you go warming up for the second one? I know the pace is relatively easy, but you're still getting out again.
Yeah, it's a lot of mileage. You have to you have to almost do just like 1 to 2K cooldowns after all your workouts, because otherwise you're still hitting close to 20 miles on the day. It's just, it's a lot. You have to really be sleeping well and recovering well, because it's 30 Ks on a Tuesday and a Friday, and most of it is like hard running. So it's really hard to double back and recover off of it. But if you can get it right and you aren't running your paces too fast, that's the biggest key with that stuff, is not running too fast. And it can get you really, really fit.
Where do you get the, like, are you doing like short hills somewhere, or like strides or some 200s at the end of it? Like, where are you getting the turnover from if you're doing so much work at that threshold pace? And then only like, I guess 70 seconds is like 2:55s, isn't it? Like, yeah, where do you get the top end stuff from?
Yeah, so I think that's something that I struggled with a lot over the last couple of years. I'd have little like hamstring niggles or something pop up where I wouldn't be able to get that faster stuff in. And if you aren't constantly keeping in touch with that top end speed, doing all that mileage just completely kills your legs, and you have no pop and no turnover. So at the end of races, it's really, really hard to kick down. Like the last 12 months, I don't think I closed a single race faster than 58. I just could not close faster than 58. And in the States, that isn't really going to get you very far. I mean, I almost didn't make nationals this year, closing in a 1:58 at the end of a 5K, just because it just doesn't cut it anymore. But we do a lot of speed stuff will be on Thursdays. We do what we called speed development, and that would either be like 15, 20-second hill sprints. You do 6 or 8 of them, or you do what we called 30-30-30s on the track, which is 30 meters at 800 effort, 30 meters at 400 effort, and then 30 meters flat out sprint. You do like 6 to 8 of those. But other than that, we did a lot of strides, especially in the summer when we're just doing lots of mileage and not really doing proper sessions. We'd try to hit like 3 to 4 miles of strides a week. So you're going and doing like 16 strides on a Saturday.
Yeah, and then what was the mileage coming in at? Like, what were you hitting at the end of the week?
It'd be around 140 to 150 at my highest. I was probably getting around 150-ish.
Yeah, it's a good base you built. And then what would you be sitting at now then with Craig?
I've been doing 130-ish for the last couple months. I hit 140 last week, so we're starting to build up again now. So I think if I can get in a good solid base at around kind of that 140 mark, doing 3 sessions a week, I think that'd be pretty good.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch, isn't it? Like, you've got this model you followed before that equaled these kind of times, and now you mix it up again and see what it equals this time.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been interesting. Every time I've changed things up a bit and added in some new stimulus here and there that I haven't really been doing before, you seem to kind of make a bit of a jump. And I think that's part of just your body gets into this kind of monotonous rhythm if you're doing the same things over and over and over again. It's hard to really see those massive improvements until you switch things up and try something new. So I'm excited. I think I have a lot of room for growth, and I think the training that we're doing should hopefully get me there.
Yeah. What are some of your favourite workouts you've done over the years? Like, what do you see on the program and you're like, yes, I love doing that?
I've always been a big fan of fartleks. Something about them. So in the States, we do this workout where we go 3 or 4 miles at just like threshold effort, and then you turn around, you stop, hang out for like 5 minutes, and then you turn around and come back, and you go like 8 to 10 by minute on, minute off, and those are always good fun. big threshold fan, or big fartlek fan, I should say.
With the goal to get back to the start of where you started from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To get back or even go further sometimes, yeah.
And as
it can be tricky because they turn into a bit of a race sometimes, especially if you're doing them with a big group of guys.
I was going to say that with a group of people, you might start off with 15 of yours, and after the fifth one, it's down to 10, and then all of a sudden you're full gassing it, and you're probably just floating the recoveries.
Yeah. When you've got a massive group and everyone's threshold paces are different, and you're rolling back, and you can just catch people as you come back, and you can see people in the distance. You're just hunting them down. It's good fun. Good
race practice. What about the flip side of that? Like, what do you hate doing as a workout? So when you see on the program, you're like, oh, this is going to be tough, or you don't enjoy doing?
I've always just dreaded long runs, and especially hard long runs. They just go on, they drag on for so long, and I think it takes more mental effort than anything else just to get through them, which is part of why I don't see myself ever like transitioning to the marathon. I think mentally it's just too far, too much effort for me.
Sounds like you've been marathon trained for 4 years. You'll be right.
I know, exactly. I know.
Maybe that's created that hate, seeing all that stuff back-to-back weeks.
Yeah.
And then like the short term, do we see, this was one of my comments about when I first saw the names listed on the on team, when it first kind of got announced, like the lack of road races on there. Like Bucks rarely runs on the road, and all the 15 and 800 metre girls do a brilliant job at that, but you rarely see them on the roads. Like, are you now the road guy? Like, we're going to see you at the Melbourne Marathon Festival, and
you will see me at Melbourne Marathon.
Burnie 10, things like that. We're going to see you kind of domestically a bit on the roads.
I think probably, yeah. Craig seems really positive on the fact that doing road races, especially in this time of the year, is really good for just building strength. And we're not, like, the way we're running them right now is we're not tapering for them. We're just kind of rolling through. Like before Adelaide, I think I did a session on Tuesday, and then I did a fartlek on Thursday, and then raced on Sunday. So we're not like backing off for them. So I think it's one of those things where it's just another way to get some really good work in, and make it a bit more interesting at the same time. And if anything else, like it's just good to be able to race against people like Rainer on a more regular basis. Like, I haven't raced against Australians in such a long time. And going into like national champs and everything next year, it'd be good to know how these guys race so I can actually key off them a little bit more. And so the more I get to see them in races and compete against them, the easier that's going to be. So I think from that standpoint, I think doing more of these road races is going to be really great. And the prize money is always nice as well.
Yeah. So what was 10K at Melbourne?
Yeah, 10K at Melbourne Marathon. Then I think we're doing the 5K at Noosa Bolt.
Oh, yeah.
And then 10K at Zatopek after that, I think, is the plan.
Yeah. I had a look at the some of the plans for Zatopek the other day, and it looks like it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, they've got some very ambitious things that they're planning, so I think it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, all you have to do is look at the ones that they've done overseas already to kind of get a feel for it, and it's exactly. It's going to be very innovative and very cool meet to be at.
Yeah.
And then I guess you're in this not sticky situation, like this interesting situation where you've got to get, if you want to make a team, you've got to get the time down, but until the time's down, it's hard to get in races where they're going to be running the time. Does that make sense? Sure. So like what? Like there'll be support with on, I'm sure, and you kind of mentioned Sean Witt before, but I guess the main goal for 2024 will be potentially to try and hit a qualifier for the 5K.
Yeah, it's really tricky at the moment, and I think the distance races specifically are in a really weird spot where the qualification times are really fast. Like the 5K is down at 13:05. And if you look at the Australian all-time list, there have been 2 Australians ever who have run that fast, and it's Craig and Stewie. So I don't think we're going to see a slew of Australians running that time. So it kind of becomes a game of like who can get the most points, and what races you can get into, and who has the biggest pulling power, because it's unlikely that 3 Australians are going to get that time. I mean, you never know. I think Rainer's close, so I wouldn't be surprised if he ran it. If Stewie wants to run it, he can. And then Morgan's looking like he's in form again. If Kai can get into a good race, he could potentially run it. So, look, I mean, I say that very few Australians have ever run that. I think if there's ever a year where multiple people are going to do it, it's probably this year. But I think the most important thing is trying to be as high up in that quota as possible. without necessarily putting too much stock in trying to get the time. Because, I mean, if you look at a lot of the Diamond Leagues this year, there weren't a lot of races that were in that low 13 range. A lot of the Diamond Leagues were going like 12:40 because you've got all the Ethiopians dueling it out with each other, trying to get, one up on the next guy.
Yeah, and that hurt Kai when he ran as well. Like, it was almost too quick for him.
Yeah, it's brutal. When you're in your first Diamond League and you're hoping it's going to be like, I don't know, a 12:55 race and you can ball out and run 13:02 and you've got, 3 Ethiopians up front trying to run 12:40. Like, there's not that many guys in the world who can even do that. So it doesn't really help anyone when races are going like that. And I think that's, part of the issue with the qualification system right now is every country's got a different way of selecting their team. And the Ethiopian Federation just decided to make it a descending order list. So you've got them going out every race trying to absolutely hammer it. And no one else can do anything in that race.
Yeah, and they'd probably dictate what the pacemakers do as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, screws the whole race for anyone wanting to run a tiny bit slower. So we're looking at Australian champs, Oceania champs. They're always big for the points, and then just trying to get a fast time that can match up with those, I suppose.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. I mean, we'll go over to Europe. Hopefully we can get into some good races there. I mean, you've always got races in Europe that go quick. I mean, there's always a 5K in Belgium that's won in around 13 flat to 13:10. So getting in a race like that would be great if we can.
Is it Hengelo as well? Hengelo's usually pretty quick.
Yep. Yeah, that's usually good. So I think the biggest thing for me at the moment is making sure I can run as well as I can at Zadabek, that just so I'm in a good position to make a bid to get in these races, just proving that, I can run fast, and I'm in form at the moment. So you should put me in your race kind of deal.
Yeah. Remind me, do the 5K points also look at your 10K time?
No, but 3K, you can get a 3K that counts. Yeah, 3 counts. So we may look at trying to run a fast 3 at some point if we can, if it lines up.
Well, it's kind of handy you got bucks on the stable as well. Like, if it's any domestically stuff and you're just like, hey, get me to 2.5K.
Yeah, no, I mean, with how the team's kind of growing at the moment, we've got a lot of guys and a lot of girls who are able to pace teammates, which is always really handy. So it's not as hard setting up these fast races. I mean, Australian domestic racing's interesting in the sense that you don't have a lot of races, especially like 5K and stuff, that go particularly fast. Like, it's very rare to even see a 5K go under 13:40 here. But the bigger your group gets and the better it gets, the easier it is to get a few of the guys to help pace, and then suddenly you've got a race running 13 teens.
Yeah, that's what we need. I feel like that, like the Adelaide Track Classic one looked like it was heading that way a couple of years ago when they were maybe running like, I reckon maybe the winner might have dipped under 13:35.
Yeah.
It was Sam McEntee, wasn't it, that day? But yeah, it'd be good to see that to kind of continue.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, outside of running, I think did you study business analytics? Something like that?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I did.
What does that involve? Sounds smart, whatever it is.
It's basically a lot of Excel spreadsheets, a little bit of coding, data modeling. It's all just like taking in different bits of data points and trying to turn it into something useful. Without getting too deep into it, you've got a lot of businesses who are collecting lots of different data points from, all different parts. So it's like supply chain stuff or like purchasing data, customer data. And it's like, how do we combine that and turn it into something that can, give the business insights into how to market better or make purchasing decisions better, that kind of thing.
Interesting, yeah. Sounds very technical. But you won't be putting that to use anytime soon? Like, you're not working part-time at all?
I am actually doing a little bit of remote work at the moment, just to keep busy a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, when things ramp up in the next year, I think that'll probably have to go on the back burner for a bit. But at the moment, while it's in kind of off-season, pre-season-ish, I've got a lot of time on my hands. So just keeping busy doing some stuff there.
Is that for a company over in the States?
No, I'm just doing some stuff for an Australian company. Yeah.
And then what else do you get your kicks out of doing? What are the other hobbies?
Man, I've been playing FIFA a lot recently. The new one came out about a week ago, so I've been digging my teeth into that a bit. But yeah, honestly, other than that, I don't really have a lot of energy to do much more stuff.
What's on the Netflix previously watched or binge or Stan? Like, what have you been watching?
What have I watched recently? I'm currently watching Ahsoka on Disney Plus, and that new Star Wars show that's come out. It's still like an episode a week at the moment, but that's been interesting. Man, yeah, it's kind of been a bit of a lull in terms of Netflix stuff. I haven't really had a show that I've been super into recently. I tried to get into The Boys. It's that like live action dark superhero show, but I kind of got out of that. So I may try and start that up again. But yeah, got to find some new shows. So if there's any recommendations, I'm open.
DMs are open.
Yeah, DMs are open.
What about books, Zach? I often ask people what's on their bedside table. You're a reader. What are you reading at the moment, if so?
I'm not a reader, unfortunately. I wish I was.
You sound like you're a smart guy. You should be a reader.
Yeah, I've never been able to get into it. I used to be, when I was younger, I was like a terrible reader. And I think that just kind of scarred me going forward. So I've just never really been able to get into it. I'm one of those people that'll like start reading and I'll get a few pages in and my mind will like wander off and think of something else. And I'll be like, I don't know what I just read for the last 5 minutes. I'll have to go back and reread it all.
Very good. And the last one for you, like, you must be stoked with the on product. Like, I'm sure you're not going to say a bad thing, but we had the shoe guy on a couple of weeks ago, Jordan Donnelly. He was on our Shoe Geeks episode, and he sounded very excited. It was almost like he wanted to tell the boys what was coming out, but he knew legally he wasn't allowed to. But you could just tell with the excitement in his voice that it's going to be a big 12 months for the brand.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm not really sure what's coming out either. I think a lot of that testing goes on with the US group, so I think if anyone's after inside scoops, they're probably the ones to ask. But I've been loving the shoes so far. I think the spikes are incredible. Those have been great. And I'm a big fan of their daily trainers as well. The monsters are awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's what the Pegasus should have been, is what I like to think of it as.
At the end of each year, we do like our jogging shoe of the year, and that was my jogging shoe of the year last year, the Cloud Monsters.
It's great.
It's a great
It's
shoe.
been very controversial from what I've seen. Some people hate it and some people love it, but I've been a big fan.
Yeah, my wife got a pair and then she hated it. Same thing, but then I couldn't, speak higher of it kind of thing. So, it's interesting. And then, final question I was going to ask you, got it written down here. We've kind of spoken about the upcoming races, but those US guys, like, do you talk to them? Like, is it like an open communication between America and Australia? Like, I guess because they got the Aussie guys on the books over there. Like, is it like you're the same team in a way or not?
Not really, honestly. I mean, I think just because I'm still quite like new on the team and I haven't really like had my official announcement or anything yet. I haven't had a whole lot of communication with those guys.
Yeah.
But I'm sure like we'll spend time with them over in Boulder in the new year when we go over, and we'll do like a month training camp there before we go over to Europe and stuff. So in situations like that, I think it's a lot more like one whole team. But at the moment, like everyone's in different kind of stages of where they're at in training and what they're doing socially and like with the time zone and everything. I think it is kind of like we're a little bit separate groups, but I think going forward, as far as I know, On really wants to try and link up the OAC groups and make it more of like a tight-knit community.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Zach, thanks massively for your time for the Inside Run podcast today. 45 minutes went super fast, and thanks for your insights and your honesty and your answers and stuff.
Yeah, no worries. It was great.
Special thanks to On for sponsoring this episode of the Inside Running podcast. On Track Night series takes over the Zatopek 10 this December in Melbourne. On Track Night celebrates the running community. The shared passion, the competition and the camaraderie, it's all there. High energy affairs with loud crowds pushing athletes to greater heights. Join us as Lakeside Stadium comes to life on December 2nd. Visit ontracknights.com for more information.
Doesn't matter if it don't come back.